recent graduate of Spencerport Schools, and she just completed her freshman year in college, so that's a tragic loss for the Ikas family. So if you keep that family in your thoughts and prayers, it would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Can I have somebody move the agenda to the table, please? Moved by Ms. Farmer, second by Mr. Maloney. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the agenda? I have three. I'm going to add 10.03, which is a retirement announcement for Superintendent of Schools, Kathy Groutman. 10.04 is going to be the appointment of a new superintendent of schools, effective January 1st, 2025. And 10.05 is going to be the employment agreement with the new superintendent of schools, effective January 1st, 2025. With that, all those in favor of the agenda is amended. That passes 9-0. Moving on to responding to emergencies. My group over here. Welcome this evening. All you guys can stand up if you don't mind. This group on January 12th, 2024 held the first annual Responders Appreciation Night that was held at the Lakeshore Hockey Arena. It would end up as a fantastic game between the Greece and Hilton varsity hockey teams. Through the efforts of two incredible hockey moms managers, they were able to sell out the arena. Ultimately, though, the help of some amazing community sponsors, they were able to offer free admission to all those in attendance. And each player was able to keep their one-of-a-kind jerseys that they're so proudly wearing tonight. They look lovely. Additionally, from donations received from the event, they were able to raise more than $1,600. Greece manager Sonia Delaney and Hilton manager Chrissy Sadati would like to present a check from the donations received from First Responders Night to our future first responders are responding to emergency students at the meeting this evening. I want to thank you, and I'm going to have all you guys come up, and we're going to do a big group picture with the board and all you guys. Thank you all very much. It's much appreciated.
Not at all. I had to help her. No, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Hockey and responding to emergencies are two near and dear places in my heart. My son was a longtime hockey player for Greece and played at Lakeshore, and I was a longtime firefighter. I want to thank Battalion Chief Gibo for all his efforts with this as well. Thank you, Chief.
Woo.
And our responding to emergencies I'm going to talk about later in the meeting. Next up, we got 1.06, Production of the Year, Stars of Tomorrow, Superintendent Groutman.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. I have some formal remarks that I'm going to be reading, but before I do that, what I want to do is just take a moment to recognize the students that are here tonight to be recognized around the Stars of Tomorrow and around the production of Pippin. So we have students from Arcadia here who worked really hard on this production, but the thing that I want to say before I start the formal remarks is I know many of you, and just from a personal perspective, to know you and to actually see you in your high school and the amazing things that you're doing on a day-to-day basis outside of Pippin are incredible. So I say that from how you connect with younger kids, how you connect with some of our elementary schools and middle schools, and also what you're doing to create and support the culture at Arcadia. That doesn't go unnoticed. You are a group of people that make a big difference at your school, and I really so appreciate that. I also would point out much of that is not just due to you guys being individual amazing kids, but also you have Ms. Casco. And Ms. Casco, I want to just point out, is the epitome of a leader in terms of really leading students who are empathetic, who are collaborative, who have heart, and who have a lot of hard work and grit and determination. So I just want to put that out there because the formal remarks won't do justice to some of the more personal parts of this. So Stars of Tomorrow is an educational program presented by Rochester Broadway Theater League that celebrates the high school musical and highlights the importance of arts and education. The program is dedicated to supporting the process of growth and learning by encouraging commitment, discipline, teamwork, and recognizing excellence. This year, approximately 45 high schools from Monroe County and the surrounding counties participated in the Stars of Tomorrow program. For those of you who don't know, this is like the sectionals or the states, if you're equating it to sports. Including all of our 4 high schools participated. A team of adjudicators attended one performance of each school's musical and provided them with rating and feedback on all aspects of their performance. Schools and individual students were recognized at the gala for outstanding achievement in several different categories. It should be noted that all 4 of our high schools received several group and individual student accolades at the gala, but tonight we recognize the students and staff at Arcadia who received the Production of the Year for the production of Pippin. This is the 2nd year in a row that Arcadia has received this recognition out of all the large schools that participated in Stars of Tomorrow. Additionally, Pippin was recognized for excellence in overall production, excellence in acting ensemble, excellence in vocal ensemble, excellence in dance ensemble, excellence in production crew, and excellence in production design. Truly, truly amazing. Students Tessa Myers, Ian Royce, Tatiana Montalvo, Nina Keenan, Estefania Martinez Munoz, and Keegan Chen were recognized for excellence in the leading role. Ian, Tessa, Tatiana, or Tati, and Nina Keenan also received or were eligible to compete in New York City and a chance for the National High School Musical Theater Awards. Additionally, Eli Lavarnway, Seth Matlick, Cadence Raforo, and Alita Yagatsu received a tip of the hat recognition. Finally, Ellie, Alita, Seth, and Jaylana, received special recognitions from their directors and their peers for their work on various aspects of the production. But that is not all. After being named in the top 41, Ian, Nina, Tati, and Tessa completed on May 21st. They were all named top 20 and competed in the semifinals on May 23rd. And Ian won the final round and will go to the Rochester Broadway Theater League Stars of Tomorrow program in New York City from on June 14th through the 25th. So huge congratulations to Ian. Well done. I can say that is a program and work at Arcadia that has developed over time and commitment, and working with really talented students like you. So thank you so much for making us proud. Ian, best of luck with everything, and all of you as you continue on with your careers.
that means it's picture time.
Tall people across the back, about 5'5", second row. Definitely want to go down just like magic to do. Like make the magic do tableau. Squeeze in.
Good, and I didn't sing, because you know I know all the.
Emptied right out. Next up, 1.07, the Board of Education Recognition Award. This award is given by the Board of Education in recognition of somebody that has made a significant impact on the Greece Central School District, our community, our students, and our staff. And this year's winner is, I don't have any prepared remarks tonight because I would have probably cried, so I'm going to do this from the heart a little bit, is a near and dear friend of mine. I've known the recipient for, I'm going to date us both a little bit here, for 40 years. We went to high school together. He's a dear friend. We worked together in this town, him in law enforcement, me in the fire service, Mr. Steve Chatan. He did. Steve took this district. He came shortly after I came on the Board of Education. Steve came to the district, and he made an instant impact on safety, security, and what we were doing as a school district. And his legacy and his time with the school district will never be forgotten. He made the impact he made on our administrators, our teachers, our students, current and past, is insurmountable. He was one person besides our superintendent in this entire district that worked 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Steve was always on his phone. I had to keep yelling at him to get off his phone, to take some time off, to enjoy Florida, enjoy his cottage, but he couldn't. Steve's a go-getter, and he did that every day on behalf of this district, and I'm truly grateful for what he did for this district, and, you know, I'm sorry that he's left. I was hoping he was gonna be here as long as I was, and Steve was always a sounding board for me. As a friend, as somebody I knew a long time, I trusted his judgment, and Steve's probably the only person in the school district that's ever yelled at me. And he yelled at me more than once, you know, and his points were always very valid when he yelled at me. I will give him credit there. But with that, I just want to bring Steve up. I know he wants to say a few words. I want to present this on behalf of the Board of Education and thank him for everything he did for our schools and our community. Yeah, now you get to speak. Don't yell at me, though. Or I'll have Scally throw you out.
You want to go or you want me to go?
You have a more formal award that's coming.
Yes.
That's okay.
It's just not in yet.
So I have to wear my glasses. I told my wife there will be like 5 people here, so she's back here. Normally there's 5 people here, right? So I just wanted to take a minute to thank the board. I actually have to wear my glasses, and most of you that know me know I normally just wing speeches. I actually wrote some stuff down tonight because this one's important to me, because I have no vested interest now. I don't work for the district anymore, but I still care deeply about the district. So this is from my heart. I actually spent quite a while working on this today to address the board with some things. But I wanted to thank the board and the superintendent for the recognition. I really appreciate it. But I also want to remind everyone, this was not a Steve Chatterton effort. This was a group effort, a team effort. Principals, assistant principals, people like Mark Fleming, Christine Baker. We had systems, Gina Larson coming up through the ranks, Jeremy Smalling. So it was, more than just me. It wasn't just me. It was my team. It was Mike Scaly. It was John Henderson. It was finding Casey Vogel to replace me. But we got buy-in from everybody. So I wanted to give you some unique perspectives moving forward so that you can actually think about changes being made on a group, on an effort. Taking the security job here was one of the best things I ever did. I came up with some of the best friends I've ever had. Chris Sloan's here tonight. Gina Larson's here tonight. Stacy Brindisi. These are people that became my friends, not just my coworkers. Everyone knows my story with Leslie Flick. She was my best friend before she passed away. So I love my job, but it was a very good reason. There was a very good time for me to leave because I was burned out. And anybody that is in school security for a large district now knows it's a 24/7 job. It's not, Monday through Friday. It's a very hard job. So moving forward, I want to make sure that you know how unique our district was. I travel throughout the state now working for a consulting company, working with school districts all over the state. Nobody does what Greece does. We're in the 99th percentile. We implemented pretty much every best practice that there is. There aren't many things that Greece doesn't do that other school districts do. Our relationship with Greece PD was second to none. You cannot do school security without the police department. School security is 24/7 now. So most of our parents are amazing. Most of our kids are amazing. I loved fist bumping the kids in the gym when I would work out in Greece. But schools today are not the same schools that you dealt with 10, 20, and 30 years ago, and you need to stop treating them like they are. Because you're not in the schools and you don't understand. If you're not in the schools and you don't understand what's happening in them, you can't fix them. So there's a lot of systematic problems. The schools that we deal with, there's such a large percentage of issues being dealt with that are not even school issues, that were never school issues before, that we're dealing with and our administrators are dealing with, and they're running around constantly dealing with issues that were never school issues before. The local media is basically dead. Sorry. So the local media is basically dead. And what I mean by that, it's not a shot at the local media. I love the local media, and I was involved heavily at the police department with media, and there were standards involved. But the local media has been decimated. The local newspaper has been decimated. So people get their news off Facebook. People get their news off social media. So many times I saw false posts go viral that I knew were not true, that we could prove were not true. Yet they knew they were not true, and they still posted it. And it still kept on going, and it hurts the reputation of the schools. So not only that, I had people complaining at the meetings. I sat in the back of these meetings for 10 years, 2 times a month. It was painful, trust me. But I learned so much. We had people coming and complaining about issues that were not Greece Central issues. So stop taking the time here to complain about issues that you should be complaining about to New York State Ed. They cripple us. We also had speakers that were on the board that were talking about making changes to security or doing different things in security that were not allowed by New York State law. So they were great ideas, but if we can't do them and we're not allowed by state law, then why are we talking about them? We need to attack them at a higher level. I'm all for consequences, but the consequences sometimes we have to follow rules mandated by New York State that make it impossible to even impose the consequences that we want to impose. So schools want to blame people for everything. But yet we have hundreds of kids walk in every day to school with their lattes and their coffees, and they show up late, and no one holds the parents accountable. We have parents driving their kids to fights. We have parents encouraging their kids to fight. We have a number of incidents that we prevented, and we spend countless times because parents do not monitor their kids' social media, and we spend hours a day fixing that and preventing incidents that we can't measure how many we prevented, but that's taken away from instructional time. The laws have crippled us. Raise the age has absolutely crippled us. Things that we were allowed to do and let the courts help us, we cannot do anymore. We actually had parents calling us and asking us to help them about incidents that happen outside of school because the police said our hands are tied, call the school. So now the school's dealing with that rather than just instruction. We also have, you know, we have so many things that we had to adapt to fix these. And like, when I say that, like marijuana is not even illegal in schools anymore. Everyone thinks that it's just legal out in the public. It's not illegal for an 18-year-old in school to possess marijuana. That's ridiculous. That's a law change. That's not a school change. But when you have the same parents complaining on social media that feel that the rules don't apply to them and come in and throw fits, and we're banning parents because they don't know how to act, how do you think the students are going to act? They're going to act the exact same way. And that's what our administrators are dealing with, and people don't see. So the other thing I want to talk about is Kathy Groutman announced she's leaving today. I knew she was leaving in December or in January. I didn't know it was being announced today. But one of the things I wanted to say was, you have no idea what you're losing when she walks out the door. You have no idea. She had the unique ability to unite people. She answered emails I wouldn't have thought of answering, right? I would have just ignored. She dealt with parents that were over the top. She worked more hours than I've ever seen any leader work in my life. And you have no idea what you're losing when she walks out the door. She gave up her family life for this district. She made this district better. And she also had the vision to mentor people, so when she leaves, she knows they can follow the system. She even did it in security. When I told her a year before I was leaving, this is it, I'm done. Her main thing was, all right, we got to figure out who's going to replace you. And we got to train them so they know your systems. And we have systems in place that I'm so confident in the security that runs security here that I'm happy with that. So to the future of the board, where do we go from here? Where do you go from here? You know, obviously I see the board switching. You know, there's controversy. I worked for the police department when I had to go to the board meetings as a detective in my suit because there was so much infighting and the board meetings were 5 hours a night. I hope to God it doesn't become that again, because it's not good for the students, it's not good for the staff, and it's not good for your taxpayers. I no longer live in the town of Greece, but the last thing you want is a bad reputation. There's too many good things going on in this school district, like you saw tonight, that you need to concentrate on the positives. The last thing I'm going to leave with you is start embracing your teachers, start embracing your administrators, because there's no incentive for teachers to come to work here, not here, anywhere anymore. Teachers love to teach. My daughter's a teacher, but she has a master's degree, and the starting pay is very low. The retirement's very bad. Now, it's been changed too many times because people listen to the private minority. So we need to embrace our teachers. You need to embrace your administrators. You need to embrace your new superintendent and stop breaking chops. So you need to cooperate with them. So this district has a lot of positive things going on. And the last thing you need is a divided board, and that's the road I see you going down. And I hope you don't go down that, because it's not good for anybody. You're losing two very good board members to election, which the taxpayers and the voters decided. However, they were amazing people, and I wish people knew all the work they did and how they cared for this district. Tammy and Sharita, I appreciate your work. So I leave you. So I leave you with that. I hope you listen to what you say. And my last thank you goes to my wife. For 10 years, we had our meals interrupted. She was woken up every time I was woken up. And I appreciate that from her. I love her very much. So I wanted to say thank you to her. And again, thank you. And I hope you listen to what I say. And if you want more details, what I'm talking about for New York State mandates, I'd be happy to talk to you offline. Thank you.
You know what time it is? Picture time. Come on, Steve. All of us. It's a board award.
Hey, Steve.
He was all over. Next up, we have 1.08, board member recognitions. I'm going to start, and again, this is going to be from the heart for me, for both of these wonderful women. I'm going to start with Dr. Trawick. Dr. Trawick came to the board and was all in. Every day on this Board of Education and her service to this community, she's been all in. She's probably one of the most eloquent speakers that I have ever heard. She speaks from the heart with passion. I mean, it's almost, I don't know how to say this the right way, but she preaches at you, and you don't feel like you're getting preached at. And it's just an amazing to listen to Dr. Trawick speak. She's brought so much to this Board of Education. She's brought so much in her role, in her various roles with Monroe County School Boards Association, the committees she served on, and her liaison roles in schools, in the community with things that aren't even school-related. I mean, Dr. Trawick's everywhere. She's been all in on this position since she came in. And we're going to truly miss you. We're going to miss what you bring to the Board of Education, your leadership, your vision, and what you've done. I wish you nothing but the best in the future, whatever that holds. I mean, you have a beautiful family. It's nice to see the whole family here this evening. And their support was important for you. And I just want to recognize you. And on behalf of the board, we have a few tokens for you this evening. And we want to congratulate you for your service and thank you for your service.
So Dr. Trawick, I also have a couple of comments, which I'm not waiting till the end of the meeting. So for those of you who don't know, Dr. Trawick has served 2 terms. And I think it's really important to note that she was the first female woman of color to serve on the Grace Board of Education. That is significant. It's significant in terms of her representation for our community and for her voice and all that she has given. If you don't know her, she's incredibly inspirational. To Sean's point around the idea of preaching, because she really is that in her heart. She also is a proud mother, a daughter, a wife. I put pastor on there, attorney, leader, advocate, and friend. And you do all of those with great passion and such grace. I know from being at Monroe County School Board events that you are also viewed as a leader among the leaders, and that your work on the legislative and other groups and committees has been really meaningful and really appreciated. I also just would add that for me as a superintendent, I've worked with board members for 10 years, so many board members. And I think one of the things outside of just being an inspirational, hardworking, successful woman that has been important to me, I think the other thing that I would say is you are one of the most solution-oriented, positive people. So rather than admire a problem, you are really honest about problems. You are really honest about having difficult conversations, about hearing really what's not going well, but also really focused on how to come together, unite, and really add solutions and productive things for a community and for schools to be better and for classrooms to be better. And I know that's true in how you've worked with your own kids, but also how you've worked with us as a school district. So I so appreciate you, and I'm proud to call you my friend as well. Thank you.
Mrs. Flores. I've known Mrs. Flores, not quite as long as I've known Chatan, but a long time. We worked together in a past life for both of us, and Mrs. Flores is one of the truly amazing women that I've served with on this board. She took over, she's been a tremendous asset to our audit committee. She's gonna be dearly missed as the audit chairman next year. She brings a very unique perspective and a thoughtful perspective, and she reminds me of 1 or 2 other board members that I served with in my time, that she doesn't say a lot, but when she speaks, it carries a lot of weight. What you say matters, what you've said matters, and you say it eloquently, you say it from the heart, and you have a conviction. As one of the few parents on the board with students within the school district, you bring a unique perspective there, and you always have. You are going to be another board member that I'm going to truly miss. Your contributions to this district, this community, and our children have been amazing. And on behalf of the Board of Education, I want to thank you for your service and wish you nothing but the best in the future. And Vice President Moore has a few gifts for you, and then Superintendent Groutman's going to say some nice words.
Yeah, so I will add, so Tammy has been on the board for 3 years and quickly emerged as probably the most conscientious board member, one of the most conscientious board members that I've ever worked with. When I say that she reads her board packet, the board packet is like over 200 pages or more each week, and she reads it. And when I say that she reads it, like I imagine her in high school being a really studious student, and she's a rule follower. But I think really? You're a good faker. So I say that, though, because the reason she does it is because she wants to understand. And I think that's the piece about Tammy Flores that is so remarkable, is she is always seeking to understand and make sure that she has all of the knowledge possible so that when she makes decisions on this board, she knows that she's doing what's right by her and her heart. And it's not about what somebody else thinks on the board. It's around the work that she's done to truly understand an issue, the work that she's done in terms of listening to people in the community, the work that she's done to make sure that she has multiple perspectives on something and that she's not just voting on something or determining something based on her own unique opinion about something. And I think there's a subtlety there that's really important that can make board members really great. So I've just appreciated, I guess, the work that she has put in to all of that. And I also want to add the word accountability to that, because Tammy is also the kind of person that isn't about just being nice. She is a very nice person. But I will say, she has high standards and is about accountability. And so as a superintendent, I report to the board. She is a person who asks me questions. She is a person who challenges me. She is a person who might ask a difficult question. It might not be in front of everybody all the time, but I'll tell you something. I know where she stands on things. I know that she has high standards and the accountability piece that's so important. So I have appreciated that. I've been challenged, and I've become better because of you and your service on the board. So thank you.
We got to do one last picture. Last picture with the board.
Getting our steps in.
Yep, getting our steps in. Bring your flowers. Bring your flowers. Bring your flowers. All right, we're going to run with our union comments. I saw President Eberts here. Welcome, President Eberts.
Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me all right? My name is Brian Eberts. I'm president of the Teachers Union. This is kind of our June wrap-up edition, so settle in. This is only about 10, 20 minutes. I'm just joking. The 2023-24 school year is coming to a close, and what a year it has been. June is the month we have the opportunity to look back at the school year and reflect. As educators, we're always striving to do our best by our students and support each other as colleagues. We all know the challenges we face in education these days. The challenges are real and need to be met head-on together. Together is the key word. Be assured we continue to advocate on behalf of our membership with the district and at the state level through NYSET's advocacy. June is also a month to celebrate the successes of the past year. The GTA has engaged the district in extensive shared decision-making work that brought building administrators and teams of teachers together to develop updated building management plans. These plans stress the importance of a collaborative decision-making culture between administrators and teachers. At the district level, we have also worked to establish the District Advisory Committee and District Improvement Team, which will streamline the problem-solving process in a highly collaborative fashion. Our union has also focused on improving the working conditions of our members. We have held monthly GTA and special education leadership meetings to discuss issues and co-plan. Our special education committee has worked to deepen building level networks. We have also worked on a number of MOAs to support our members and the district as a whole. We have accomplished a lot, but much more work is needed. The GTA has also been engaged with and supportive of our community as well. We raised just under $6,000 to purchase coats for kids through Operation Warm again this year. We have supported building-based food banks and held our yearly Stuff a Bus food drive in support of the Greece Ecumenical Food Bank also. Additionally, we held a book donation for our community schools, and the Greece Teachers Community Programs distributed over $3,300 in teacher grants. And congrats again to Emil Nicholson for anybody who attended the Greece Gauntlet this last Saturday. It was fantastic. As we wrap up this school year, I'd like to once again thank the members of the Board of Ed for their service, especially board members Trawick and Flores. These are volunteer jobs that require a great deal of time and effort. I'd also like to thank our superintendent, Kathy Groutman, for her years of service, tireless work ethic, and collaboration through the years. Notice that word collaboration comes up a lot. It's a next to impossible job, and you've done it with grace, patience, and sincerity. So I thank you for being a partner in our work together. I'm thankful for the fact that you set us up for success moving forward, and I wish you all the best. Thank you, everybody.
Do I have anybody here from AgSep? Anybody here from GAS? I saw Karen Costera. Is Karen still here? Does she want to speak? Karen, would you like to speak? I do. All right. And I'm saving GASA for last because I hear it's quite entertaining, so.
Hi, good evening, everybody. I'm Karen Costera. I'm the business agent for Teamsters Local 118. First, I want to say congratulations to Superintendent Groutman. I wish you well in your next chapter. It's been a pleasure working with you, and I'm sad but happy for you. And also, I want to thank Dr. Trawick and Mrs. Flores for all your support and time serving on the board. So, excuse me, why I'm here tonight is it's no secret that we're having trouble in the transportation department with drivers and attendants, a shortage. So I just wanted to touch a little bit about that. The concerns surrounding the shortage of bus drivers, there are many factors involved that have gotten us to this place. First, there's a definite change in the workforce. I think we've all noticed that through the years, COVID and moving forward. We used to have a great pool of Kodak retirees that were made a large group of the drivers. Those days are gone. We also have the stay-at-home moms who could work the same schedule as their children, but that's diminished as their needs have changed. Working 10 months out of the year without a guaranteed 40-hour work week and no pay for school breaks doesn't entice many. The job just isn't what it used to be. Driving a 29,000-pound vehicle down the road filled with 50 to 60 children is challenging, to say the least. The hazards of driving nowadays is another challenge with the number of cars on the road. That increase alone has caused, as you know, the running of the reds, right? I don't have the stats on that, but maybe Dave can talk about that later. The numbers are really high, and the number of public and drivers running our reds is at a high, and it's scary. It's scary to drive a bus and witness that, because children are unpredictable, and you just don't know what way they're going to go. Student behavior is another challenge. That the ability for drivers and attendants to manage those behaviors has changed. Accountability is needed at all levels. In order to retain current staff and recruit new hires, we need to work together for a solution. Collaboration, as the word is. The Transportation Department is in crisis mode. We need to be creative and enticing, thinking outside of the box, to be the district that people want to come to. Increasing pay, adding affordable health care benefits all come with financial cost, but far less than contracting an outside source. So I have soon to be talking with some administrators in regards to all of this, and I hope that the board can support the ideas that we have come up with. And I'm looking forward to that work and making Greece the place that people want to come and drive their kids for. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Now it's time for GASA.
How do we go forward in it, though? Sorry. This is, okay. All right. I'm Michelle Barton. I'm the principal over at Patty Hill.
I'm Jacqueline Wesley, Assistant Principal over at Patty Hill.
Much like Mr. Eberts, we want to take a few minutes just to recognize and reflect on the year and are looking forward to sharing some of our celebrations with you.
So in reaching out to some of our GASA colleagues, we're going to highlight the different things that they've shared with us in their schools. So first up, over at Odyssey Academy, they recently celebrated a culture showcase that was created and organized by their own Odyssey Academy scholars. Arcadia Middle School has worked hard to ensure a smooth transition for our 5th to go 6th grade students. At their 5 go 6 night, we had current 6th graders share their experiences with incoming 5th graders over at Arcadia Middle, and they're excited to say that currently they have 104 6th graders signed up for their summer camp orientation. At Holmes Road, they wanted to highlight their special persons breakfast, where families were invited to Holmes Road to enjoy breakfast with their student. Over at EV, family and community engagement events have been a top priority. These events have included a camp literacy night and a Kids Invite Someone special event.
Both Buckman Heights and Craig Hill wanted to share about their participation as one of the 4 schools who hosted the Greece Central School District Leader in Me Leadership Day. Buckman Heights is proud how their alignment to Leader in Me and community schools has positively impacted Buckman school attendance, behavior, and academic achievement. Craig Hill students have demonstrated a variety of leadership roles within the building, from displaying clubs, touring leaders, wildly important goals, or WIGs as you might know, creating clubs, and being on their panel. These Craig Hill students and staff are really proud of all of their accomplishments. Of note for our elementary schools is the amazing clubs and extracurricular and extended learning opportunities that we offer. Brookside wanted to share about their robotics Lego club that they hosted for our 2nd and 3rd grade students. Long Ridge is proud to share that they opened a family resource center with food and a clothing pantry. Through their partnership with Food Link and donations, the Long Ridge team is able to support families with grab-and-go meals, snack bags over breaks from school, and weekly stops at the food pantry.
As a district, we also hosted 2 first annual events. The first being our first annual All-Star Day. So this special day provided inclusive and engaging activities that were enjoyed by hundreds of students within Greece Central. We also want to celebrate the students from across the district who presented at their first annual Grease to Change Youth Summit. Athena Middle would like to celebrate their Hispanic Heritage Celebration, National Junior Honor Society induction, and student fun nights, which included dancing, open gym, and Horizon Fun Effects. Phoenix would like to celebrate their student leadership groups. Phoenix students have been involved in district leadership opportunities, and additionally, an internal student leadership class has led to additional leadership opportunities for them throughout the school year. Another point of pride is experimental learning happening over at Pinebrook. This is focused on improving vocabulary and attendance through an experiential learning this year. They had 100% of students in that experience data collecting cohort make high growth on their iReady reading and EARLA assessments.
Lakeshore would like to celebrate a successful year of implementation of our core with their fourth grade students. Students showed accelerated growth and greater proficiency through this program. Fourth graders celebrated their success with a writing celebration this past week. Patty Hill would like to share that we achieved Leader in Me Lighthouse status back in January. Lighthouse certification is a highly regarded standard of achievement given to schools who serve as exemplars to their community and other schools. We celebrated our Lighthouse status with a school-wide glow day. Hot off the press for Patty Hill, too, we just completed our school-wide tie-dye event, which the remnants are finally washed off, as over 76% of our students who are demonstrated proficiency in iReady reading this spring. All right, so celebrating our goals and pride in reaching our goal is a really part of being a Patty Hill Bulldog. We might be known to rock a confetti cannon from time to time, and we want to share that celebration with all of you tonight. So you each have a streamer popper up here. Sorry, I did not order enough for everyone, but so we want to take an opportunity to celebrate all of the hard work from our GASA unit, all of your support as board members, and thank you to our departing board members and superintendent. So if you hold it in your hand and rip off the top layer here, this part up here, yeah. Yeah, if you hold it up on your hand, there you go. Yeah, you're good, yep, you're good. And then on the count of 3, we will pop them in the air in celebration of all the hard work of. But on the count of 3, we celebrate all of our GASA and Greece Central School District accomplishments together. So 1, 2, 3. You're just going to throw it out in the air. There we go. We figured confetti wouldn't be great for inside tonight, so thank you.
That was probably one of the most entertaining presentations I've seen at a board meeting. Thank you, and I think it was more fun watching Jacqueline struggle with it. Thank you both. And I just want to take a moment to thank all of our unions for the incredible work they do each and every day on behalf of our students, our community, and our staff. We have an amazing team here in Greece Central, and I just want to take a moment to thank all of our employees in Greece Central. They're very much appreciated. All right, rolling into Residents Forum. My first speaker this evening, I don't see him, but he may be here. Miguel Milan. Mr. Milan, are you in attendance? I guess that's a no. All right, I have a Helen Lonhart. Is Miss Helen Lonhart here? Welcome, Miss Lonhart, if you could go over to this.
Good evening. My name is Helen Lonhart. I live on Straub Road, and I've been a frequent viewer online of your meetings. I asked to speak after the May 7th meeting where there was a discussion about safety in the district and Mr. Bonagario's request to review the strategic plan to determine if it sufficiently addressed the safety of district students and staff. I specifically wanted to thank Mr. Bonagario and Ms. Farah for holding firm and standing up for Greece students and staff. After reading about events at Olympia, I did my due diligence and I reached out to people that I know within the district and within Olympia High School. One staff person shared with me, and I quote, It is true and scary that students with horrible gang-like behaviors are allowed to return into our building. This person confirmed that teachers in security have been injured in altercations. It was very concerning that they also stated, and again I quote, that faculty and staff at Olympia are just waiting for when the stabbing or the shooting happens in our building, because some of these students have been in possession at some point in or outside of our building. Mr. McCabe, on May 7th, you said our schools were safe. They're not. You called it a societal issue, and that may be true, but it has to be addressed. You cannot disregard the pleas of those you represent. If taking the time to review a strategic plan will help avoid what Olympia staff worries about on a daily basis, then it will be time well spent. Thank you, Mr. Bonagario and Ms. Farah, for addressing the topic and supporting the efforts. And I hope the rest of you will reconsider, because the consequences of doing nothing is unthinkable.
Thank you. And next up is Kevin Lockhart. I think I saw him come in earlier. Oh, yeah. Welcome, Mr. Lockhart.
Hello, Legislator McCabe. Double dipping in the pot, are we? So tonight, obviously, there's a lot going on, but I'm so glad to see so many taxpayers turn out and have an interest in the county school board system, and obviously more specifically the town of Greece Central School District. And we have this talk about new members and all this and that, and it's very exciting. But I'm a Greece Athena 2010 alumni. I graduated from Greece. Part of who I am and the culture of who I am is a Greece resident. And I was kind of formed in this kind of, some of my favorite memories are from Greece Athena with my friends. There's amazing people in Greece. I love the people of Greece. And the reason it's nice is because we don't get into the identity politics, or we don't get into the DEI and the SEL. And right now I want to tell you all that a lot of the schools in Monroe County are struggling with these concepts of both adult themes and then the violence and the SEL and the DEI. And there's all these ideas circulating about people being in opposition to one another and the correct way to interpret our social relationships and the roles that, and our identity. And there's data collection, which is very concerning. So Greece is just one portal into that the state has into Monroe County and to the students. And it's very critically important that in order for things to continue to stay nice after this era, sorry if you're falling asleep over there, I know my voice is probably lulling you to sleep, but I'm not a great speaker. What can I say? The Legislator McCabe, it's not a great speaker. I'm boring people to death. It's all right. But in order for things to stay nice in Greece, we don't want to devolve into the identity politics or get into this real progressive idea of we need to recruit activists in the classroom, because or another conversation that's been relevant this week is the whole idea of bringing adult content into the schools to traffic to the kids through the school libraries. And so that's something that we need to watch out for, is this adult, what I call filthy smut in the Central School District libraries. There's a long way down we can fall from grace as far as this district is concerned, because it seems like things are going okay. Thanks for the time.
Thank you, Mr. Lockhart. Next up, I have staffing. Can I have somebody move the staffing to the table, please? Moved by Ms. Flora, second by Mr. Maloney. Any comments, questions, or concerns on staffing? Seeing none, all those in favor? That passes 9-0. I'm going to take a moment before I turn it over to Assistant Superintendent Larson for our introduction. I want to thank 3 retirees tonight that are retiring. I want to take a moment. I think only one of them is here, but I want to thank Mr. Tom Mariano, who had an incredible service with the Greece Central School District. I don't see Tom. Tom, are you here? Okay. I just want to thank Tom. He was our executive director of technology. He brought technology into our schools, put it in our classrooms, was a tremendous asset during the COVID pandemic when we switched to at-home learning, and he did a tremendous job. He's going to be sorely missed. I want to wish Tom nothing but the best in his retirement. John Henderson, who replaced our award winner this evening, Steve Chatterton, is our Director of School Security. I've known John Henderson forever, as well as Mr. Chatterton, and John came in into a tough spot filling Steve Chatterton's shoes, but John came in and did a tremendous job. He carried us through to where we appointed our new Director of School Security. And John is retiring for the second time, and I wish John nothing but the best. And I'm going to say the best for last, Suzanne. Suzanne Pettifer. She's been in Greece Central for a long time. She's one of the few people that you see every day smiling. She is always happy. People look up to Suzanne. Whenever I see Suzanne, it brightens my day. She's truly a good person, and I'm going to miss you. I wish you nothing but the best in your retirement, and enjoy it. And I'll see you at the Sabres game. Assistant Superintendent Larson, you're up.
Thank you very much. I'm pleased this evening to welcome our new Buckman Heights principal, John Martin Cannon. John Martin attended the University at Buffalo and earned a bachelor's degree in social sciences, early childhood, and a master's degree in elementary education. He also attended St. John Fisher for his administrative degree and earned a master's degree in educational leadership. Prior to Greece, John Martin worked as an assistant principal in Batavia and Rochester City School District. He taught in the Rochester City School District and Rush Henrietta Central Schools. John Martin's favorite part of his job is that he gets to be a part of so many people's lives, students, staff, and families. John Martin is looking forward to continuing the great work at Buckman Heights, but also creating long-lasting relationships with everyone he crosses paths with in the Greece community and school district. In his free time, he loves to work out, train high school and youth athletes in the sport of wrestling, travel, spend time with family, and play in a recreational football league. John Martin's wonderful parents and girlfriend are here with him this evening. They are his rocks. Pardon me? I'd rather his wife. Oh, very nice. They are his rocks, and he appreciates them beyond belief. Congratulations, and welcome to Greece Central.
You're not going to get away without a picture. That's not going to happen. Dr. Payne, Deputy Smalley, and Superintendent Groutman, and I'll get out of the picture. All right, moving on to 2.02. Can I have somebody move tenure to the table, please? Moved by Ms. Flores, seconded by Dr. Trewick. Any comments, questions, or concerns on tenure? Seeing none, I'm just going to make one comment. Congratulations to Mr. Groutman for your daughter getting tenure tonight.
Big day for Groutmans.
With that, all those in favor, yeah, it is. Big day in the school district for Groutmans today. Kurt, you want a job? All those in favor? That passes 9-0. Congratulations to all our tenure recipients. 2.03, the GTA MOA for retirees. Can I somebody move that to the table, please? Moved by Ms. Farmer, seconded by Mr. Butler. Any comments, questions, concerns on this? Seeing none, all those in favor? Those opposed? Passes 7-2. Moving on to GTA MOA additional FTEs. Can I have somebody move that to the table, please? Moved by Dr. Trewick, I think. I saw your hand, correct? Okay. And Mrs. Flores. Any comments, questions, concerns on that? Seeing none, all those in favor? That passes 9-0. Moving on to accept MOA change the payroll schedule. Can I have somebody move that to the table, please? Moved by Mr. Maloney, second by Vice President Malore. Any comments, questions, concerns on this one? Seeing none, all those in favor? That passes 9-0. Moving on to 2.06, the AgSep contract. Can I have somebody move that to the table, please? Moved by Mrs. Farmer, seconded by Mrs. Flores. Any comments, questions, concerns on that? Seeing none, all those in favor? That passes 9-0. 2.07, the Gusto contract. Can I have somebody move that to the table, please? Moved by Mr. Butler, seconded by Mr. Bonagorio. Any comments, questions, or concerns on that? Seeing none, all those in favor? That passes 9-0. Moving on to 2.08, amendment to the superintendent's employment agreement. Can I have somebody move that to the table, please? Moved by Mr. Maloney, seconded by Mr. Butler. Any comments, questions, concerns on this? Seeing none, all is in favor? Those opposed? Carries 7-2. Moving on to special presentations. Summer programming, Superintendent Groutman.
Yep, I'm going to invite, I know Todd and Val are going to both be presenting. One thing that we are very proud of in Greece is the work that we've done to offer and increase summer programming for our students. So I will take you back to a time when I was the principal at Patty Hill. And at that point, for 9 years, we were allowed to have about 100 kids participate in summer reading programs. 100 for the entire district, not my school. So fast forward to now, and what Val and Todd are going to do is take us through the different opportunities that our students have to participate in the summer, not only academically, but also in ways that are just fun and engaging to get kids and to build trust between our students and families and schools. So thank you for being here tonight and for your presentation.
Thank you. So a couple of things. First of all, the work that we have done to be able to expand the programs that Superintendent Groutman is talking about, we paid attention to the community. So our community spoke and we listened. One thing that we heard loud and clear was that our students needed more offerings beyond the school day, which we've been able to see that happening in clubs with the presentation that GASA shared tonight. We know that those have been going on in addition to summer programming. So, I mean, the importance of that and the support that we've been able to grow those programs is really and truly outstanding. I have to say, though, that hasn't come without challenge, right? Because as we continue to grow, some of the struggles and challenges that we know in transportation are huge. So just to give you a little bit of context, we have a summer programming planning team that comes together, and this is pretty much a committee that meets year-round. So we meet in the fall and we talk about what we did over the summer. We debrief around like what we could do better. We survey our families and we reflect on that. And then we take notes around what we want to do differently for the upcoming year, what we want to replicate, what we might want to expand upon. So those are things that are happening. And then in the winter, we come together with the facilities team and we figure out where some of the work that's going to be happening over the summer is occurring so we can determine where it is that we can offer our programs. So that's something that goes into it as well. The other thing that I have to mention is this is such a team effort. Again, we have the group that we bring together is huge, and it consists of our curriculum directors, some principals, we've got finance, we've got facilities, we've got HR represented, communications, transportation, food services, we've got medical, we've got security, as well as technology. So when I say that this is a huge effort, this isn't just a couple of people that are getting together and talking about like, what could we offer over the summer? This is a huge undertaking, and we're just like so proud that we're able to offer all of these things for our kids in Greece. And then the other thing that I just want to talk about is like coordinating all of this. So a couple of years ago, I actually tapped Todd Smith to kind of step up and help us with this around some of the organization of it, because there are so many different departments that this reaches and touches. And I just have to like out loud say that the success of so much of this is a credit to Todd's organization. And he's going to walk us through some of those programs tonight, just so that you can be aware of what those are. I know that we always come back to the board and talk about the success of that at the end of the summer, but with further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Todd.
Thank you, Val. As you can see, we have a lot of programs. So I want to thank the board, first thing, is for supporting all of these, because the amazing thing is almost everything we provide is free to our families, which is amazing. I know in many, many districts that's not the case. So we've eliminated that barrier, and we've created so many things, and we've listened to our families and created tons of opportunities. So I'm going to dig into just a few of them here, and we'll do some follow-up presentations later in the year to tell you how they went. So our first one, our elementary reading program, as Mr. McCabe mentioned, Suzanne Pettifer is retiring, but she started this, I don't know, close to 10 years ago, at least, and it's been an amazing program for our students to really help lift their reading, to get them ready for the next year. They're engaged reading, writing, in Haggerty lessons. We've developed partnerships with Roberts so we can bring in interns and extra students, giving opportunities for people to grow and become future teachers in Greece. Then we have our amazing Jumpstart program, which is for incoming kindergarten students who didn't get the opportunity or couldn't attend our pre-K programs to help get them ready so they're ready to jump right into the kindergarten and to ease that transition. Then we have our community school summer fun camp. So this really started coming out of our COVID years, where our families talked to us about, we want more and more opportunities. So our community schools program, led by Kelly Sperduto, really dug in, and we have free programs that are fun, engaging, project-based around academics, but also just fun activities that we host at Autumn Lane. And last year, I think we had 600 or 700 kids, and we're hoping to even grow beyond that. And then this year, we're even expanding to middle school. So we're excited to just keep growing our programs with your support. Then we have our sports programs, which these are only a couple years old, and they're led by Tony Lapani and Ray Istis. And as you see, we have K-4 camps and 511 camps across all of our different campuses. And we keep expanding the different activities. And I'm sure this list isn't even accurate, because every day Ray's like, hey, can we do this as well? And we're working and finding ways to keep expanding and providing these opportunities. So far, we have almost 2,000 registrations for our sports camps already. And we're still a month away from them beginning. So we're super excited. Not only does it give our kids opportunities in the summer, it helps build our programs for during the year, laying those foundations and building bonds with the community and our coaches. Then we have our English as a New Language program. That's at Holmes Road, and that's really for our beginning level ELL students, really to provide that foundation so that they're ready to engage in grade level content when they come back in the fall. So we're excited to have that at Holmes Road. It's K-12 students, so everybody can engage if they're at that beginning level. They do field trips. We're tied into Leader and Me and really get them ready to be at grade level or approaching that as they come back. Then we have our extended school year program. That's for our special education students who have been tapped through the committees on special education as really needing that extended school year to help prevent some of that summer slide and keep them ready for the year coming up. They get a lot of the services that they get throughout the year. They get to go on field trips. And my heart is warmed every summer when you go visit it. It's almost always at Pine Brook. You go there and you see the amazing things that our kids get to do in the summer. For some of our students with some of our highest needs, they're still engaging, having fun, and learning throughout the summer. And then we have some of our more traditional summer school programs at the secondary level. So our middle school campuses each design their own program for their students, which is great. And one of the big focuses is on our 5-6 students to help with that transition, right? That's tough going from elementary to middle school. So they design programs around that and for each of their kids. And then we have our traditional BOCES programs, the BOCES regional program where we host a couple of other districts. And we also have our local Greece only, our alternative one that focuses on credit recovery and for some of our students who may have some additional challenges. And then going out into the last couple I have to share with you, some of our choice camps. So Mario Belcafini has designed some great music camps at Buckman. So kids get to dig in deep and play their instruments for a whole week in the summer, and then they do a great performance for parents at the end. And then iReady is really just this flexible thing that's available to everybody, every student K-8. So a lot of families, they maybe go away on vacation or they have different plans and programs and they can't get their kids to some of our programs. So this allows them flexibility to do it whenever and wherever they want. And we've been offering that every single year. So it's a great flexible tool for families to engage in. And the last program is our one that we do charge for. That's our Kids Care Summer Program. It's a full-day program from morning till late afternoon. You can drop your kids off. They get lunch, breakfast. They have field trips and lots of engaging things. This year's theme is Back to the Future. So every week they have a different theme within kind of that space Back to the Future thing, and kids have a lot of fun there over at Autumn Lane. So we will be coming back to you as a board in the fall at least with updates on how it went, data, and all those types of things. But until then, do you have any questions?
Questions? All right, thank you. Oh, sorry, Mr. Butler?
So do we have a lot of families who were interested in the summer kids care program that we were unable to accommodate with space, or do we have room for everybody?
I'm not entirely sure about the space, but I can get back to you for that. But I do know we do offer assistance. I know like the child care assistance programs can be used to do that. I have not heard of us having to block anybody due to space constraints at this time. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Thank you both. Moving on to 4.02, transportation recommendation. Superintendent Groutman.
Yes, so having Karen Costera here earlier for the Teamster comment was sort of a nice opening. Many of you know we have struggled with drivers and transportation. What that has looked like for us as a school district is everything from students getting to school late to drivers combining runs and doing more than one run, to being able to having to cancel after-school activities because we can't necessarily provide the transportation. So this is a real issue. It's not new, though, so I want to be clear, and it's also not just Greece. This is something that we've been studying as a school district and as a school board for multiple years. So for 3 years now, we have worked with our Board of Education, and each year, we've made recommendations around some changes to help mitigate that. What's the problem? I mean, one of the biggest problems is, like Karen mentioned, since COVID, there wasn't a ton of drivers before COVID. Since COVID, that has been significant. So we have seen it just like many other districts. We're struggling. And the thing that I would say that I'm proud of in Greece is while we're struggling, we're also looking to do something about it. So we can sit and do nothing and have people be angry, or we could at least try some things. So Dave Richardson is here, our Director of Transportation. He has been working really closely with all of us as a board and an administrative staff to work to articulate some of our thinking, just the current state, so that people understand that and that the board hears it. Again, we all are very aware, as well as some of the ideas and solutions that we have that we're recommending going forward. I say that, and I think one of the important things to mention is any recommendation we make around transportation is not popular. The reason is because there's change associated with that. We have over-serviced in terms of what we provide people. And I say that across the board, and that makes things very convenient for people. And that's nice to be able to do, but we're not in a position where we can continue to do that. So I share that just as a little bit of a serving the plate a bit to prepare you, because some of the recommendations in here that Dave will be sharing will be different. And they're things that we need to be able to do to be able to service our kids and our families more predictably. So with that, I'll turn it over to Dave.
Thank you. One of the slides or one of the pieces of data that I've regularly shared with the board over the last several years is this slide here. The bullets are the same, the numbers is what changes each year. So you're seeing we're close to 10,000 students we're transporting. We're now down to 130 drivers. That was 140 in August. We've hired 25 drivers. We're hiring drivers more post-COVID than we were ever pre-COVID, but we're losing drivers more post-COVID than we were pre-COVID. 60-plus contracted routes with third-party carriers, 1,000 walkers, grades 6 through 12. And the biggest piece there is we're traveling to 95 schools and programs twice a day. That does not include McKinney-Vento runs. That does not include middays as well, or partial day programs. Next year, that number right now is 97. So that number goes up while the number of drivers goes down. So the trains are leaving the station in opposite directions. So how did we get here? You've seen this before. The persistent driver shortage is ongoing. The acronym CDL, Commercial Driver's License, is a very attractive certification right now. We have third-party companies like Monroe and First Student in Ontario that are constantly recruiting drivers. We have private carriers like Waste Management and Amazon and Pepsi and Coke. All of those commercial trucking companies are all looking for commercial drivers, for CDL drivers. Many of them are offering wages much higher than the public districts can offer, including Greece. with lucrative signing bonuses and dangling that dollar in front of people that have that CDL. And so we're up against that challenge. The volume of internal requests, I've already mentioned that, and the number of schools and programs. So one of the things that we looked at this past winter is partnering with a company called On the Bus, facilitated by Paul Overbaugh, former New York State Director of Pupil Transportation, to come in with a clean lens, an unbiased slate, to look at our transportation department and say, hey, where are some areas for improvement? How does the operations in your daily life or the daily operations of the transportation department, how does that look? Are we meeting the needs of our students and our schools? And as a result of the data, the interviews, the on-site visits, they come up with 8 recommendations, which we shared with you back in the March retreat over at the ELC. So tonight is about 2 specific proposed changes that you are going to be voting on later in the meeting. The resolution is looking at matching the walking distances to the bus stop to the walking distances to school. These were 2 things that you had an opportunity to study, to question, to provide feedback on back in March. My department and myself have had opportunities to dig into this a little bit further, to present to you some savings that would come as a result of this resolution being passed, which is going to be outlined here in a second. One of the things that I took great pride in is the comment from Paul Overbaugh that I did share in March as well. And while this kind of sounds arrogant, it's not my intentions. This comment made me proud of the work in the department because we are exhausting all avenues. We are looking and not afraid to look at any avenue, any remediation, any remedy, any solution. Engaging in conversation, dialogue, working with parents, working with schools, working with DCIA to see how we can meet the needs of our students and programs. This is not just about picking things out of the air and let's cut this and let's do this. So, to look at the resolution further, the first 2 things recommended by Paul Overbaugh and On the Bus study was to, number 1, look at the walking distance to school for our K-5 students. Right now, every student K-5 in Greece gets a bus. We're proposing the change be up to 1,056 feet. Why force students to walk up to 1,056 feet? That's because, the recommendation from SED is that bus stops should not be any closer than 0.2 of a mile. When buses are constantly stopping on the road, that is impeding traffic and creating a hazard for our motorists. So walking 1,056 feet to school for our K-5 students, up to, I want you to focus in on the words up to, more than the distance of 1,056 feet. Are we going to make students cross Ladder Road and Ridge Road and Long Pond and Mount Reed and some of our high traffic areas? No, we're not going to do that. All right? You see the number in parentheses there, 10. That impacts about 10 students. But those students that live at the entrance of Long Ridge, there's 8 houses, 4 on each side. Right now they're getting a bus. They can see the school from their front porch. Okay? So you're talking about an impact on our students and our families that can see the school, that are within 1,056 feet. They would not get a bus. They would be required to walk to school. On the flip side, K-5 students that are outside, they have to walk up to 800 feet to the bus stop. We're about matching the distances tonight. So if you can walk up to 0.2 of a mile, which is 1,056 feet, to school, you can walk up to 1,056 feet to the bus stop. That make sense? Okay? 6.8, right now the current policy is if you live within a mile of school and you're a middle school student, you walk to school. We are not recommending any change but with the walking distance to school. But what we are recommending is the proposal to, if you live outside of a mile, you only have to walk 1,500 feet to the bus stop. So the recommendation is to match the walking distance to school with the walking distance to the bus stop. Okay? So we have students that have to walk a mile, but if you live 1.1 miles, you have to walk 1,500 feet? Okay, where's the equity? So we're looking to balance that and provide that equity. Walk up to a mile to the bus stop like you would have to walk up to a mile to school. And then 912, the current policy right now is up to 1.5 miles to walk to school. But again, the current policy is if you are a bus rider, you only have to walk up to 1,500 feet to the bus stop. We would look to match that distance, so you could walk up to 1.5 miles to the bus stop. Again, I want to focus in on the words up to. We have a lot of stops. What this would allow us to do is to take a bus run of 18 to 22 bus stops and consolidate it down to about 12 to 18. So for every 5 buses-ish, you might be able to do it now in 4. Are we going to make every high school student walk 1.5 miles to the bus stop? No, we're not. Okay? We have safety parameters in place. We know which roads are already earmarked as do not cross. All right, we're not going to break special ed guidelines and laws and regs as it pertains to transportation accommodations on an IEP. We're not going to do that. But what we are going to do is be smart. New York State law says K-8 students can walk up to 2 miles. And 9-12 students can walk up to 3 miles. So you heard Kathy talk earlier about a lot of luxuries that our families have received. We are well under the state maximum. Is this going to be a hardship for some families? Yes. But I also have heard many stories from people in this room and people on the board who have said, when I was in school, I had to walk ba-ba-da-ba-da. And our distances are far less than what many of us had to do when we were in school. Recommendation number 3 that is not part of the resolution here tonight, but is just to bring it to your attention, is something we're already doing. So it was recommended that for our 52 private parochial charter schools that we are transporting students to, because they have requested transportation, and their home is within 15 miles of that private parochial charter school, and by law, we have to provide transportation, that we can consolidate and put multiple schools on the same bus. So for those students that are at Chesterton and St. Cattery and Bishop Kearney, which are all next door to one another, instead of 3 buses going to 3 schools in the same area, they could be put on 1 bus to go to those 3 campuses. So does that mean there might be increased ridership time? Yes. But hard times call for hard measures, and that's what we're looking to do. We would save close to 23 routes by doing that. Recommendation number 4 that we talked about at the board retreat back on March 16th is the April 1st deadline. The key word here is strictly enforce. The moment we crack, the moment we ask for an exception for one, hey, can you just allow this person to get their application in for Aquinas, or can you allow this person to get transportation to Nani or Poppy's house, even though the application's after April 1st? We do that for one, we got to do that for all. And we're close to 900 applications already for private parochial charter schools, and we're approaching 500 applications for childcare. So I get bombarded with those special requests. If I'm getting bombarded with it, I know all of you are as well. And it's hard to say no, but we have to stay united and we have to enforce that policy. Now, obviously, a new enrollee has 30 days from when they register with the district. So a new registrant comes in June 30th, registers their child, they have until July 30th to complete a child care or private parochial application. Again, that is all state law. Future considerations. So I mentioned earlier 8 recommendations which were shared with you back on March 16th. These are items 5, 6, 7, and 8. These are not things that can be implemented come September. We need to think creatively. We need to put together stakeholder groups. We need to solicit voice from all those stakeholder groups, including the bargaining units, when we're talking about adjusting school start and end times, when we're talking about eliminating schools of choice or reducing them, when we're talking about reducing the boundaries for childcare and school attendance. Karen Costera and I, number 8, have, the last bullet there, have already had focus groups with drivers in attendance to solicit ideas, suggestions, feedback on ways to combat the driver and attendant shortage, to address that recruitment and retention, because we need to put forth an improved effort, or we're going to continue to see more of the same. So Karen and I will be scheduling meetings with our Office of Human Resources and Office of Finance to share the feedback that we received from those focus group sessions. So again, going back to the board resolution, which you're going to be voting on later on tonight, is to match the walking distances to the bus stop with the walking distances to school. And you can see the summary there. K-5 would be up to 1,056 feet, or 0.2 of a mile. Grades 6 through 8 would be up to 1 mile, and 9-12 would be up to 1.5 miles. Questions?
Ms. Flores?
Thank you, Mr. Richardson, for all the information. I know how tirelessly you and your group have worked on this and how hard some of these decisions are that you're making. I do have a question. As I know that we're talking about this tonight, but the problem is just going to continue, and it's going to get worse. It's not going to get better. So in order for us to make sure that we can provide consistent transportation without the gaps and holes, I have a question on the recommendation of doing the separate buses, that we can combine buses used to transport students to schools that are grouped together. The possible impact on that talks about the amount of time students spend on the buses may go up, and that tells me that the students would be getting to school earlier in some of these situations. This recommendation can possibly save 23 bus runs, which is enormous, to try to build that stability and consistency with that. My question is if these students are getting to the school earlier, I know for some of our schools, we have time requirements that the students cannot arrive before. If we increase those times and those students are getting to the schools earlier, whose responsibility is it to ensure that the students are safe and that they have a place to be when they get to those schools?
It's a great question. So we would be conducting the routing. Our goal is to not have students at schools more than 25, 30 minutes tops. So that supervision would be the requirement of the school by us reaching out to them in not October or August 30th, but well in advance to share what the route times would be. What SED calls for is reasonable. The bus ride has to be reasonable, okay? What's reasonable is we can do it this way, and school A gets there a half hour before, school B gets there 20 minutes before, and school C gets there 10 minutes before in that example that I provided earlier. If that's not reasonable, they're pushed back, then we're forced to say, all right, you're now going to be dropped off at 10 o'clock, 10:15, and 10:30. And you're missing the first 2 hours of school. If you can't, so pick one. We can only stretch our staff so far. Okay, we can only squeeze so much out of our staff with the runs. So I pushed back on Paul Overbaugh and asked that question, and he said, what's reasonable? You have this, or we can say, if that's not reasonable, we can do this. I can get you a driver at 10 o'clock. I can get you a driver at 11 o'clock. I can't get you a driver at 8 o'clock. So it's, yes, for some it may be difficult. But with advanced notification, AKA 2 months advance notice, we're going to be dropping kids off 25 minutes before the bell. We can no longer afford one bus for one school for 3 kids. Can't do it.
Thank you.
Yep.
Mr. Bonagorio?
Thank you. Mr. Richardson, first off, thank you. I know how hard you've been working at this, and it has been going on for quite a while, and it's been a struggle. You've presented these issues to the board. I appreciate you keeping us abreast of all that information. I've seen you in your vest, ready to climb on the bus and do runs yourself. So I know this is, you're living it. And again, thank you. You did mention soliciting voice from our staff. I wonder, and I appreciate the necessity for constraints in, for example, the April 1st deadline, things like that. I imagine you will be setting up runs in advance. You've got to communicate that kind of information to the schools. When that has been done, do you expect to have any opportunity to solicit feedback or appeals for reasonable, not in quotes, real reasonable changes, or at least a hearing? Because this is going to be difficult, and at least to have people have an opportunity to seek an alternative, even if it can't be granted, might be helpful just for people to all understand the immediacy of the problem.
Sure. We're always willing to listen to parents. I have parents reaching out to me every day asking for solutions to their child's bus not coming. Is there a different bus they can get on? Can they go home with a friend? Can they get on the middle school bus? So problem solving with parents and soliciting stakeholder voice from our parents in our community is something that we'll never stop doing. Okay? I go back to the word reasonable. I understand parents have the right to choose the school for their child's education, and I respect that. But I also respect that we have to transport students that are 18-degree schools. And, in my heart, Greece comes first. Parents are making a choice, and that's a choice that they have, to attend a private parochial charter school, and we're doing our best to accommodate that transportation need. We're not talking about going across the street to Patty Hill or up to Long Ridge or across town to Craig Hill. We're talking about 14.7 miles to Charles Finney or 13 miles to Mercy. That is an extreme hardship on our department. And when I have to look at what's reasonable, 50 kids to Long Ridge is more reasonable than 25 kids across town to Finney. Now, that's hard to hear. I get that. But what's reasonable? I only have 130 drivers, and I'm forecasted for 120 come the fall. So the well is becoming dry, and desperate times call for desperate measures. So what's reasonable is to consolidate runs based on geography, to consolidate runs based on bell times, to look at schools, the grades that they serve, and who can be partnered with who, and to communicate those changes to the schools early enough so they can make the appropriate accommodations as well. So will there be alternative options? I can't tell you. There will or there won't be. That they may be limited, but until the number of drivers starts going in the opposite direction, we're going to be limited. That may or may not have answered your question.
I think you did, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Dr. Frederick?
So I too thank you, Mr. Richardson, for the presentation. I guess as I'm sitting here and I'm listening to it, I agree with all the recommendations that have been made. It is just my hope. I hope we can get to a point where this becomes the conversation in the community. Like, we're in trouble. We need help with bus drivers and ideas around how we get people, because there's labor out there. If you go to any, unemployment office, people are sitting there, ready to collect their benefits, and there are jobs available. So we have to get the word out. It's okay to have this kind of one narrative about what's going on, but this is part of the problem as well. You shouldn't, have to stand here and, make these recommendations, because there are people out here that can drive the routes. Mm-hmm. We just need to be able to talk about it and, encourage people. Mm-hmm. We've got tons of people out there, so I hope that this can change. I think we're closer to incentives. I've heard some of the most creative incentives to get people to come to the district in the last couple of years. I think our HR department has done a phenomenal job in terms of trying to find out, from workers, what is it that you want? What will attract you here? So I feel like we're getting closer to that, but we got to keep talking about this particular problem, along with the other things, because there is some truth. When you talk about it, it causes action, right? So let's talk about this, not just one narrative about our schools not being safe. That's a narrative. It exists. But let's also talk about the fact that we need bus drivers, and if people that are retired, that might want to come on board and do some routes, talk to them about it. You have a nephew, a grandson, a granddaughter that's kind of just hanging out and, needs work. Talk about it. Like, this is part of what makes people, Greece great. If we can't transport our students, then what do we have? Because you can take out the private and parochial schools, right? Take those out of the equation. But then as the numbers continue to dwindle, then it does start to impact the Patty Hills, the Craig Hills, 100%. The 100%. So it's not touching us right now. We have something that we can say, well, it's this is the problem. But when you remove that and we haven't built up the labor, it's going to be right at our doorstep. Then what?
Yep.
So we have to talk about these things as well as the other things.
Yep.
So thank you for all your diligent hard work. Thanks for being willing to put on the vest. I can get my husband a vest too. Want to do a CDL? We can talk.
We're up to 121.
Thank you.
Well, and I go back to the word narrative. We have a tremendous, dedicated staff that does amazing things each and every day. But the narrative of being a bus driver or bus attendant is not positive. How many times do you hear, I'll do anything you want in the district, but there's no way I'm being a bus driver? Or I hear it many times a day. I wouldn't want your job, Dave, in a million years. And I'm not saying that to brag, but there's not a lot of positives. Our staff is working 3, 4, 5 shifts a day. They're getting paid when they work, and they should only get paid when they work. I get it. We're not paying people to sit around. I understand that. But, it's 3 hours in the morning. We have 45-ish middays that we need drivers in attendance for throughout the day, and then it's 3 hours in the afternoon. So your mind might be on the job 12 hours, and you're getting paid 7. That can be very taxing. As you heard Karen mention earlier, for that retiree, could be very attractive. For the person who lives a half mile away, very attractive. I can run home anytime I want. But the people who are looking at this opportunity for a career are looking for a higher wage, or looking for benefits, are looking for a little bit more of a financial package to support themselves and their family.
Any other questions? Ms. Farrar?
Thank you, Mr. Richardson, for this. Now, you had mentioned during the transportation overview that this does not include the McKinney-Vento. How does those unfunded mandates affect us as well? We have to transport those students to and from as well. Provisions to that, if that is even possible. I know that's not a short-term solution to what we're looking at, but started the conversation like Dr. Trawick was asking, that may be something that we want to look into as well. I am assuming that is a huge burden to the district as well.
And that's a federal mandate. So you heard Steve mention earlier, that's not something anyone in this room can change.
Yeah.
It's required by law that if someone is deemed McKinney-Vento status and they live within 50 miles of the district, we are providing transportation. So that can be very taxing on our team. Roger Humans and his routing team do an amazing job of trying to figure out when they get that call from Jackie Gigliotta with a McKinney-Vento student about how we can meet that need. We can't say no. Again, it comes to the word reasonable. So we have students who are on the bus for a grease route, and then when the driver is done with the grease route, off to X location they go to take that student home in the afternoon. There are times when we may have to contract something out. There are times when the student may have to stay at school until we can, find a bus at a reasonable time to take that student home. For some of our students, they're getting picked up 5:45, 6:15 in the morning, an hour before school, because the driver goes out, gets the student, then comes back to grease, starts the grease run, and then brings those students to school. So having a driver on standby between 6 and 8:30 or between 1:30 and 4:30 who's just waiting for work to do, those times are gone. So those McKinney-Vento students are being added to existing runs.
Thank you.
Superintendent Grauman.
I just want to point one thing out. So it is a law, but I also would say that is our role to advocate. So where is there spaces and places for advocacy as a Board of Education, as administrators? And I do think that there's opportunity so that people start to understand the true impact that some of those mandates have in terms of our workforce. The other thing that I would add is great appreciation for your department. I think one of the points that makes it not an attractive job is also that when I show up to work and my run becomes a different run because they've been combined, and so I don't necessarily have that same predictability every day in a very difficult job. I say that, and that my only point would be, I really hope that as a community, rather than get divisive with this issue and become an us-them situation, I hope we can get behind what are fairly modest recommendations, but that can have a big impact on our drivers. Roger sitting in the mornings and your team sitting in the mornings, and what that does to impact all the people that are driving and your drivers, and the unpredictable nature that families are dealing with right now. So I'd rather be really clear and have it hurt a little bit to everybody than have families on any given day have their route changed or have their time changed for school. So I say that because I think it's really important to be honest about that, but also not create a fight about this. We're going to continue to listen. We're going to continue to get impact. We will problem solve when we can, but ultimately there's some changes here that are going to be less convenient for people.
Thank you, Superintendent Grauman. Any other comments? Ms. Farah?
I just have a quick comment. Going back to aligning the walking distance. I bring this up because it's going to affect the 10 families, and you said this about Longbridge, and I only know this because I have kids, and I have seen you out there. We've seen broken down buses right in the middle of the entrance, so it's affected traffic, and when moms and dads are trying to get to work, the honks are going. Is there any way, and I know that this is not a school district concern, but is there any advocacy and a healthy relationship that we have with the town that we could kind of implement crossing guards? I think that might also help the security level. I mean, these kids, K through 5, you're looking at 6, 7, 8, and these 10 kids, I don't know what their ages are, but I would like to think that even though you can see the entrance from the school, that entrance just alone, that 4-way stop, like I said, I've seen you there. We've had a bus crash into poles, all sorts of things. I would think that maybe we could advocate to the town to try to get a crossing guard to those areas that we feel may help the walkers in that instance.
Yeah, the town is the only entity that can hire crossing guards because school district employees cannot legally stop traffic. And you're seeing the crossing guard shortage like you're seeing the bus driver shortage. There's no longer a crossing guard at Island Cottage and Ladder Road. There's no longer a crossing guard at the exit of Athena. It is now GPD. So they're experiencing a shortage for many of the same reasons as we are. It's an hour, 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours in the afternoon. So I agree, we could definitely utilize more crossing guards. And when we look at each student and their walking distance, whether it's to school or to the bus stop, we take all those safety measures in place. We also have a bus stop review appeals form. So if a parent says, you know what, I think my child's bus stop is unsafe or not ideal, and they list their reasons, our routing team reviews every single one of those. And sometimes we always go out and visit the site. Sometimes we agree with the parent and the stop is moved. Other times we can justify that the stop is safe. So there's another example of parents reaching out and advocating for their child.
Perfect, thank you.
Yep.
Any other board member, Mr. Bonagario?
Just the last one. I share Superintendent Groutman's comments, and I especially want to say again, you know, you've got great staff. I know a number of your staff members. Some of them are among the most community-minded people, and these are tough decisions for all of us and for the families. Again, I thank you for your efforts on it, and we need to make changes.
Thank you. I just want to echo what Superintendent Groutman said. This is not about putting the pressure or the negativity on a specific family or a specific grade level. This is about spreading the shortage and the efforts and the remedies across the community. So this will impact everyone, we get it, but instead of impacting one specific neighborhood or one specific school or one specific grade level, it's across the board, equally impacting all of our students in Greece.
Any other comments or questions? Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Moving on, item 5.01, acceptance of the 23-24 internal audit report. Can I have somebody move that to the table, please? Moved by Dr. Turwick, seconded by Ms. Flores. Any comments, questions, concerns on this? Ms. Flores?
Thank you. The audit committee met yesterday, Monday, June 3rd, in regards to several points, including reviewing with the Bonadio Group, who is our independent auditors, our internal audit report on our procurement process. This has not been reviewed in quite some time, and they came back with some of their findings and such. It was a pleasure to find that there were no exceptions to this. There was no corrective action needed in the procedures that are being handled and maintained by the district staff. They did provide a few recommendations to expand additional documentation, as well as when it comes to compliance on piggybacking of existing contracts, making sure that there is clear written notification of when the winners and the losers of bids are notified. But outside of that, they commended our district staff on their professionalism in working with this audit, and again, indicated no corrective action, no exceptions, no findings. So I'd like to say thank you to all the staff that are part of that process and indicate that I do recommend for the board to accept the internal audit for the procurement process that was reviewed this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Flores, and thank you for serving as chairman of the audit committee. Are there any other questions or comments on that? Seeing none, all those in favor? That passes 9-0. 5.02, fund balance transfer to the capital fund. Can I somebody move that to the table, please? Moved by Ms. Farmer, second by Ms. Flores. Any comments, questions, concerns on this? Seeing none, all those in favor? That passes 9-0. Moving on to anticipated bids. It's written information only. Does anybody have any questions? Seeing none, moving on to the consent agenda. Can I somebody move the consent agenda to the table, please? Moved by Ms. Flores, second by Mr. Maloney. Any comments, questions, or concerns on the consent agenda? Seeing none, all is in favor. That passes 9-0. Moving on to 8.01, the Spanish 1 curriculum approval. Can I have somebody move that to the table, please? Moved by Ms. Farmer, seconded by Dr. Trewick. Any comments, questions, concerns on this?
Probably say it in Spanish.
That's not gonna happen. That's a hard no. Any other comments? We're gonna ignore that one. All right, with that, all those in favor? That passes 9-0. And I hate to do this to everybody in the audience, but we have to take a 5-minute recess. So we'll be back in 5 minutes promptly, so be quick. To our Board of Education meeting. If I could have someone move item 10.01, May 16th, 2023, absentee ballot disposal. Moved by Vice President Moore, second by Mrs. Flores. Any comments, questions, or concerns on this? Seeing none, all is in favor. That passes 9-0. 10.02, the transportation resolution. Can I have somebody move that to the table, please? Moved by Mr. Maloney, seconded by Mr. Bonagorio. Any comments, questions, or concerns on this? Seeing none, all is in favor. Those opposed, that passes 9-0. Moving on to 10.03. I'm going to read this one. Be it resolved, the Board of Education of Greece Central School District accepts the retirement letter from Superintendent Kathleen Groutman, effective January 1st, 2025. I'm going to move that. Second by Vice President Malor. Any comments, questions, or concerns? I have some comments that I'm going to make. A whole page full of them. That's why I gave you a break. And then I'm going to let Joanne talk, and Joanne just talks. So I'm going to start with my unprepared comments first. Probably going to cry. Just over 9 years ago, 9 years and almost a month to the day, I called Kathy on the phone. I was driving my daughter's graduation, and we had a conversation. Barbara Dean had just told me she was leaving. And Kathy Groutman was the first person that came into my head to be superintendent of schools. So I'm like, so I got a proposition for you. Would you like to be superintendent of schools? And she's like, you mean the superintendent of schools? I'm like, yeah, the superintendent of schools. And so we talked for almost the entire drive from New York to Virginia. And I was super excited when I got done talking to Kathy. I mean, Kathy's passion for this community from the time she was a kid till now, as a teacher, as a principal, assistant superintendent, superintendent of schools. There's nobody like Kathy Groutman. She's been, I didn't know Kathy well. I knew who she was, knew her in passing. Hey, how you doing? But after our 9 years together, she's become like a sister to me. She's a true friend. I'm going to miss her deeply. Kathy made me a better person every day. She made me look at things differently than I'm framed to look at. With my career, I'm a little bit cold in some aspects, or a lot cold, some people would say. But Kathy made me look at things differently. And she made me better as a person, better as a board president, better as a board member, better as a husband, as a father, in so many aspects. So I want to thank her for that, for what she's done for me. Now getting into the prepared comments. I got to put my glasses on for these and see if I can see through my eyes. Today marks a bittersweet memory for our school district as we formally accept the retirement of our longtime superintendent, Kathy Groutman, effective January 1st, 2025. Kathy has dedicated her personal and professional life to Greece and our community, and our community is undeniably better because of her contributions. A proud graduate of Greece Arcadia High School, Kathy's professional journey with Greece Central School District began in 2002 as an administrative intern. She went on to become an assistant principal and a principal before becoming assistant superintendent and then ultimately rising to the position of superintendent of schools in 2015. During her remarkable tenure as Greece superintendent, Kathy has spearheaded many transformative initiatives. She introduced community schools, culturally responsive education, founded the Regional Equity Network, and highlighted the importance of social-emotional learning. Kathy bolstered early childhood education by implementing full-day pre-kindergarten, establishing the Greece Community Early Learning Center, and prioritizing literacy. She championed student success through initiatives like AVID and Early College High School, while also expanding career and technical education programs. Kathy's leadership has been instrumental in securing substantial grant funding, fostering increased community partnerships, and empowering all stakeholders in decision-making. Under her guidance, we successfully implemented 2 comprehensive strategic plans, approved 10 school budgets, 1 capital improvement project, and met the challenges posed by a global pandemic. From day one, Kathy has made it known that relationships matter, and she made it her mission to ensure every member of our school community felt seen, heard, and valued. By amplifying the voices of students and families, Kathy has not only fostered a sense of inclusion and empowerment, she ensured that our educational policies truly reflect the needs of our community. Kathy has been a driving force behind workforce development initiatives and leadership opportunities for staff members, regardless of their position. She spearheaded programs aimed at professional growth and advancement, equipping our staff with the tools and skills needed to excel in their roles. Through mentorship, training, and strategic leadership opportunities, Kathy has cultivated a culture of continuous learning and innovation within our schools and our departments. Moreover, she has worked tirelessly to strengthen union and Board of Education relations, recognizing that collaboration and mutual respect are essential for the success of our educational mission. By fostering open communication, transparency, and a spirit of partnership, she has built bridges that have enriched our school community and paved the way for meaningful progress. Throughout her tenure, Kathy has been a beacon of stability, wisdom, and compassion, guiding our district through both triumphs and challenges with grace and fortitude. Her dedication to student success, unwavering commitment to equity and excellence, and a vision and visionary leadership have left an indelible mark on our schools and the lives of countless individuals. Though her retirement marks the end of a truly great era, Kathy's legacy of integrity, innovation, and unwavering advocacy for education will continue to inspire us all. Please now join me in congratulating Kathy Groutman on her retirement and thanking her for her tireless dedication, visionary leadership, and unwavering commitment to the betterment of our schools. Greece won't be the same without you. Congratulations. Now for the entertaining comments. I'd like to introduce BOCES 2 Superintendent, Joanne Antonacci. Welcome, Joanne.
Thank you, Sean. Mine is briefer, but no less sincere. Kathy Groutman has devoted 32 years to the education of youth. Following her teaching years, she has served as assistant principal, assistant superintendent for student support services, and superintendent of schools in Greece Central School District. I got to know Kathy best during my 14 years as district superintendent. As a DS, a major responsibility is to provide leadership in developing and achieving educational programs and services to meet the ever-changing needs of students in our component districts. However, this can only be accomplished with the help and the collaboration of our component superintendents, their respective staff, and the board members. Greece is ranked among the top 10 largest school districts in New York State, and your superintendent has represented you for 9 years and 1 month. If you carefully look at the accomplishments of Kathy and her team during these years as superintendent, the #1 priority has always been students and their families. I know this because I too am a Greece resident. Kathy, under your leadership, the district has grown and become stronger. The challenges have been real, and they continue to be addressed. The successes are equally real, and they must be celebrated. Your career is one of distinction, and you should be very proud. I personally thank you and wish you and your family all the best in retirement. And Albert Einstein said, I'll leave you with this: try not to become a person of success, but a person of value. Kathy, I think you've accomplished that. Congratulations.
I'm going to hold comments under your board member comments. We'll do that. So with that, all those in favor, regrettably, of accepting her retirement, all those in favor? That passes unanimously. Congratulations, Kathy.
Thank you.
And you know what time it is? Picture time. You and Kurt, I'm going to make you do a picture. Right out front. Now I'm going to make you do a picture with Joanne. I'm going to, after, she'll do a picture with Kurt and then with you. Is there anybody else that wants a picture with that? I'm gonna charge $5. There's not many men that can make lavender shorts look good. And I do want to apologize to you, Kurt. I was hoping to keep her a little longer so you could enjoy retirement alone, but it didn't work, so I'm sorry. All right, moving on to 10.04. I'm going to read this one as well. Be it resolved, the Board of Education of Greece Central School District appoints Jeremy Smalleen as the superintendent of the Greece Central School District effective January 1st, 2025. Can I have somebody move that to the table, please? Moved by Vice President Lohr, seconded by Mr. Maloney. Are there any comments, questions, or concerns on this? And again, I have Jeremy's appointment comments. With the appointment of Jeremy Smalleen as the next superintendent of the Greece Central School District, we have chosen a leader who truly reflects the values, vision, and dedication of our educational institution. Jeremy is no stranger to our district. With nearly 20 years of dedicated service, he has been an integral part of our community, contributing in various capacities. His journey with us began as an administrative intern, an assistant principal, where he quickly distinguished himself through his commitment to excellence and his passion for education. His leadership skills and dedication to our students' success saw him rise to the role of Long Ridge principal, where he continued to make a profound impact on our school environment. As a district administrator and later as assistant superintendent of human resources, Jeremy demonstrated remarkable strategic thinking and an unwavering focus on system-wide improvement. His ability to build strong and positive relationships with staff, students, and families, and community members alike is a testament to his compassionate leadership style and his understanding of the value of listening to all stakeholders. Most recently, in his role as deputy superintendent, Jeremy has worked tirelessly to advance our district's mission. His collaborative approach has fostered a culture of teamwork and shared responsibility. His strategic mindset has guided us through numerous initiatives aimed at enhancing the educational experience for all our students. What sets Jeremy apart is not only his impressive resume, but his unwavering dedication to the advancement of our district. He possesses an exceptional blend of knowledge, skill, and compassionate leadership that makes him uniquely suited to lead us forward. His strong interpersonal skills and ability to connect with people at all levels of our organization will undoubtedly continue to be a tremendous asset as we strive to achieve our future goals. Jeremy understands that at the heart of any successful educational institution are the relationships built within it. He listens actively, values every voice, and is committed to fostering an environment where student, teacher, and staff members can thrive. His vision for our district was one of continuous improvement, innovation, and excellence. As we look forward to the future, I'm confident that under Jeremy's leadership, we will continue to grow, evolve, and excel. Bless you. His appointment marks the beginning of a new chapter for our district, one that promises to be filled with opportunities, advancements, and shared successes. Now, please join me in congratulating our new superintendent of schools, Jeremy Smalleen, on his well-deserved appointment. We are fortunate to have such a dedicated and capable leader at the helm, and we look forward to the incredible journey with you that lies ahead. Congratulations, Jeremy. No, we were gonna do pictures. We still haven't voted yet.
Oh, yeah.
You're not in yet. Settle down. Things could change any minute. Would you like to say anything before we vote? I can vote first. All right, I'll give you a solid. This might be the only one I give you, but I'll give you a solid. All those in favor of the appointment of Jeremy Smalleen to schools? I see that carries unanimously. Congratulations, Jeremy Smalling. Now your time for comments.
Okay. Thank you, President McCabe, for the generous introduction. Well, to everybody here tonight, I'm deeply honored and profoundly grateful to accept the role of Superintendent of Schools upon Kathy's retirement. First and foremost, I want to express my sincere appreciation to the Board of Education for this opportunity. I'm humbled by the trust you have placed in me to lead our district forward, and I pledge to work collaboratively with each of you to achieve our shared goals. I want to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our Superintendent, Kathy Groutman. Your leadership, vision, and dedication have significantly shaped our district. Your commitment to excellence and your tireless efforts have paved the way for the progress and success we celebrate today. You have been a mentor, a guide, and inspiration to many, including myself. Your legacy will undoubtedly continue to influence our work and inspire us to strive for greatness. Thank you for your service and for leaving such a strong foundation for us to build upon. I also want to thank my family. As you heard from a lot of people tonight, this job is difficult, and it takes many hours and dedication to do it and to do it well. And my family stood by me the entire time. My wife, Susan, my son, Owen, and Alexia, who are not here tonight, my mother, Ann, my father-in-law, Bob, and my father that couldn't be here tonight. I want to just reiterate to everybody in the room here my gratitude and my commitment. This is not just a role for me, it's a calling. I'm ready to listen, to learn, and to lead with integrity, transparency, and a steadfast focus on what is best for our students. Thank you for this incredible opportunity. I'm excited to continue this journey together, united in our dedication to the success and well-being of every student in our district. Thank you.
Now it's picture time. With your family, then with Kathy, and then with Kathy and Joanne. All right, next up, we have 10.05. Be it resolved that the Board of Education of Greece Central School District approves the employment agreement for Jeremy Smalling as Superintendent of Schools effective January 1st, 2025. Jeremy will be assuming the role when Kathy retires on January 1st, 2025. So with that, can I get a motion? Moved by Ms. Flores, seconded by Ms. Farmer. Any comments, questions, or concerns on this? Seeing none, all is in favor. That passes 9-0. Congratulations on your contract. All right, getting in the board member comments. It's been the history of this board to let our leaving board members speak first under board member comments, so I'm going to start with Dr. Treywick.
Okay, so it's so emotional in here. I said, I'm not going to cry. It's going to be so many things happening. But so first and foremost, I want to say thank you. Being on the board these past 6 years has been amazing for me. I want to say thank you first to my husband and my kids. They couldn't last, the kids, but they could watch it on YouTube. But to my husband who's here, I just want to say thank you so much. There's not anything that I tell you that I want to do that you don't stand behind me and hold me up. So I love you and I appreciate you for that. To my kids who aren't here, I just want to say that I hope that the sacrifices that I have made, that we've made for you guys to be successful, you appreciate them. Specifically to my son Amir, I came to board service because of him. Maybe some of you have heard this story before, but I'm going to tell it again. It wasn't like I woke up one day and said, oh, I want to be a board member. But, you know, our son was in Greece schools, and, you know, much like what's going on in the community today, there was a lot of unrest happening in the community, not in schools per se, but and in schools, so both. And I wanted to get involved. There was a dialogue that was happening. On the outside, we had young black men that were being shot, unarmed. In schools, we had school shootings happening, so it was turmoil on the outside and the inside. And as a mother, all I could see was that my son was a target. And, you know, I know there are mothers in the audience, but as a black mother, it is very difficult when you know that your son as a black man has a target on his back. And my husband, I don't sleep until they come in because I don't know what's going to happen. If they're stopped by the police or if somebody, it's not even the police, it's anybody. But black men are a target in this country. And that was what was happening on the outside. And then in the inside, students were coming to schools and shooting up schools, and I felt helpless. I felt powerless. It didn't matter about the bullet didn't care if I had a JD behind my name or what law school I graduated from or how much money we had. It didn't matter. I was powerless. And instead of complaining or sitting at home crying, I decided to empower myself. And so I wanted to be a part of the conversation. I didn't know what school board was about. I didn't have any delusions that I was going to come to this board and change the world. But I knew that if I could just be a voice, I didn't see myself represented on this board. There was no person that came from my background that had the same kind of fears and anxieties that I faced as a black mother. And I felt like maybe, just maybe. So people came to me and they said, you're going to run? You know, there's never been a black person elected in Greece ever for anything. You're just going to waste your time. This community would never support you. But I said, I'm a mother. How can you not support a mother who's scared, who doesn't know if her son will make it home or her husband? Like, all I have is my story, my narrative. And I believe that that's going to connect with people. And it did. 6 years. I told that story over and over again. And as I did my 6 years, I met people that were also scared. They weren't black mothers. Some of them were white. Some of them were Spanish. Some of them were fathers. But I realized that it wasn't even about my color, but that fear was prevalent in driving so many people. And we connected on that, and I became their voice. And so I say to my son, Amir, that I did this for you, and I don't regret my time. Because I think my 360 moment was last year when he graduated from Olympia and I got to give him his diploma. Because again, let's look at the narrative. The statistics say that black males don't graduate from high school, but mine did. Not only did he graduate, his mama got to give him his diploma. That meant the world to me. You could have took my title then. So I thank God for the opportunity to have served and what it has meant for my family and I. I thank the voters for taking a chance on me. You got this lady walking in the room. I'm just going to call it what it is. I'm done. You got a black lady walking in the room. You don't know what I'm going to be talking about. Am I going to be loud? Am I going to be... And I was scared and people were scared, but they took a chance on me. And I listened, and I tried to learn, and I tried to bring my voice to the table. So I thank the voters for voting for me. And the fact that I didn't win this time is okay. And I say congratulations to both of you because I believe that everything happens for a reason. And even when people have reached out and said, oh, my God, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? You're going to keep going. I have spent more time over the last couple of weeks not feeling bad for myself, but just encouraging people around me. This work isn't held up by one person. It's held up by many people. And I thank Kathy. I was sad to hear that she was retiring. But, you know, you come to a point where you realize that your legacy, it can stand. And your baby can stand. And when you know that, you can let them walk. You've done what you needed to do here. And I appreciate you so much. I have learned leadership from you. I have learned how to accept people helping me. And I just want to just say, it's being on the board, you know, you go into different meetings and different platforms. And what I love about Kathy is you can open the door for someone, you know, invite someone to the meeting that may not have a seat at the table, but then that's it, and you think the job is done. Kathy not only made sure I had a seat at the table, she made sure that I had a platform to speak. She made sure people knew I was in the room. Because sometimes just because you're in the room, you could still be invisible. There were places that I went that people knew my name before I even got there because she made sure people knew that I was in the room. And why that was important is because, you know, we have kids in this district. I know I'm going long. I'm not even going to look at you, Sean. This is all I got. This is the end, the last hurrah for me.
You're going to get the hook in a minute.
Right. Then I'll just go out there and preach. You guys all said it. But we have students in this district, and we talk about students of color and their test scores and their, you know, academics. What I represent, and I knew this from the beginning, is I made it. I'm a student of color. They needed to see that we can grow up and become something that's not a statistic. So it was important for me to be in places where our students, not just students of color, but all students could see that you can make it no matter where you come from. And when people think your color is a barrier to show up and to be seen. And why I drag my family around, I make my husband go to everything, because people think that black homes are all broken. This is 25 years, not broken, unbroken. Children successful because we worked hard at it. We're not an anomaly. I remember a person came up to me and said, you know, your family's an anomaly. How would that make you feel? All your hard work, but you're an anomaly because you're black and you've got a family that's intact. There are lots of black families intact, but this is the narrative that we choose to put forward. And we have to stop that. And lastly, I'm getting there, to my GCSD family, my Greece Central family. Thank you for letting me be me, for letting me preach, for letting me say what I needed to say, whether we agreed or we didn't agree. At the end of the day, I always tried to make decisions that were good for the group. I didn't try to make decisions that I felt were good for, one particular group. I'm Black. I'm going to identify with that because that's who I am. I wake up Black every single day. It's my gift. But I always try to think of what's good for the group and make decisions based on that. So I want to thank my Greece Central family for allowing me to be me. Some stars, highlights. I'll never forget my time here, seeing our children perform, at concerts, being invited to schools to tour, watching Mr. Fleming run across the parking lot. I'm never going to forget that. If you check my Facebook page, don't try to check for negative stuff. Check for the video of Mr. Fleming doing the running man with the school clapping and cheering him on. That's the kind of stuff you're going to find on my page. Or our students receiving awards, or our parents, volunteering. And I'm just so grateful. You guys have been wonderful to me. And I want to talk about advocacy really quickly. People say, well, we don't want our advocacy has no place in schools. So it's just tonight, we talked about advocacy around McKinley-Vento. You did, Megan. We talked about advocacy to the town to get crossing guards. What is advocacy? We can't say these things and not understand what they mean. Advocacy is the ability to stand up for something. When you go to the store and you say, this has one price, but you're charging me something different. I want to see a manager. Advocacy. When the doctor tells you that you should take this medication, but you feel better and you want to get off of it because it gives you side effects. Advocacy. Our kids have to learn advocacy. Unfunded mandates. How do we talk to the state? Advocacy. So when you say no advocacy in schools, you say our kids don't learn how to use their voice to stand up. And then what happens to us? When we're too old to speak for ourselves, when we've taught our children not to speak, then we end up in places and with things happening to us that we don't deserve because we decided that advocacy was dangerous. So I'll leave you on that note. Thank you again. Thank you for my 6 years. Thank you for the service that you all continue to do. And to the new board members, I know you'll do fine, because it's not just you. You have a whole team of brilliant people that are struggling to fix societal problems. And they need your support, your input, and your humility. Nobody here has all the answers, and we don't always get it right. But if we continue to work together, we will be better together. Thank you.
Mrs. Flores, you're up. Tough act to follow.
I was going to say, you want me to follow that?
I'm glad I'm at the end.
Sharita, I'm a better person for having met you. Thank you. I first want to say I had the privilege, as one of my last things to do as a board member, to attend a national conference on community schools last week with Dr. Payne and Kelly Sperduto and a couple principals and Terry Malore. And I just was so excited to be able to be with, 1,500 to 2,000 additional people who have the same passions that I see in the team that works for Greece Central School District every day. And they go through the same struggles. And we hear all the time, Greece has all these problems and it's only in Greece. It's not only in Greece. It's all over the country. It's not locally. It's not only in our state. It's everywhere. The transportation issues we discussed today were a highlight of a lot of people that we got to speak to at the conference. And I just feel like I got even more insight about community schools, why it's important to support our kids not only on their education journey, but as a whole person. And I really, really want to thank Dr. Payne and Kelly Sperduto for giving me the opportunity to experience that and to understand how amazing they have done in the past 5 to 7 years in standing up the community schools program that we have in our schools now, and how it does continue to expand each year. We need to be able to support those kids to get to school, to be ready to learn every day. And community schools does that. And I would say 95% of the things we do in this district tie back to community schools. So I just am really thankful for that opportunity. It has been an honor and a privilege to serve on the Grease Board, without question. While I have worked with many amazing people throughout my career, the staff at Grease have shown me what it means. I probably better put my glasses on because my notes are really small. Has shown me what it means to set aside my values and be open to having true compassion for humanity, even in the toughest of times. To have steadfast determination to find the positive in every situation, to stretch resources, Mr. Dave Richardson, I'm looking at you, further than most think were ever possible, to revel in the smallest of accomplishments, to fuel the larger passions, and to embrace the teamwork, collaboration, and shared visions that can move mountains. Our district struggles in many ways, similar to all of the other districts around us and throughout the state and throughout the U.S. But each day is started anew with patience and fortitude and a desire for simple kindness amongst each other, something our society seems to value less than ever before. The comments, actions, behavior, and especially the social media etiquette of adults is often emulated by our students. My hope is for the board, district, and the overall community to find more and more ways to come together to positively support all of our students and families. There's a lot of great work happening, a lot of successes to celebrate. I am thankful to have been able to share, learn, and grow during this moment in time. And I also have in my notes, same as Dr. Trawick, we are truly better together. Thank you.
Other board member comments? Mr. Maloney.
I've been dying for my turn. I got a couple. Dr. Trawick, today is my 2nd anniversary. My wife and I have been married 2 years, and Dr. Trawick married us. So, besides being an outstanding board member and outstanding everything, she's also a pastor and is able to do ceremonies. So, if anybody needs to get married, she's the person to call. And her husband was there too. So thank you. I don't know what to say. I watched all your children grow up here. I watched them go through the system. I was there at graduation when he graduated, Amir. And all the best to you in all your future, and you'll never be invisible. Never. I love you from the bottom of my heart. Tammy Flores, a great friend. I don't know how it would have counted all that money through the Wounded Warrior concerts if you weren't there. If you know, Mrs. Flores is a banker. She counts very fast, very well, and she's accurate. The people at Bank of America love her. And to Kathy Groutman, I don't know what to say. I've known you since you were in high school. My brother and I used to go and vent in your office at Patty Hill. And I really think you ran the district back then. As an assistant principal, as a principal, definitely as an assistant superintendent, and the best decision we ever made as a board was to make you superintendent. And it's been the best 10 years of my life. But thank you very much. She's also coaches soccer. She's also helped raise my granddaughter. And she's done some amazing things. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Maloney. Any other board member comments? Mrs. Farmer?
3 strong, powerful women who have touched, each of you have touched me in ways that I probably never even said to you, but have said to other people. I want to thank each of you, Sharita and Tammy, for the words that you said to us tonight. Healing words, revealing words, words that can make a difference in our community. To Kathy, who I have never met a person who had anything but love and respect and appreciation for who you are. Your energy has lit up the room that you walk in. I remember being at a community event and seeing this person with these little teeny shorts on, and then it's her. And I'm like, oh my God. And now she's retiring. How does that even happen? I wish you so much joy in your next chapter. And you have so much more to give, all 3 of you. And I appreciate having known you. Thank you.
Do you have comments? Ms. Ferrer?
Dr. Trawick, it's been a short journey with us. We didn't get a long time together, but your time on the board with us was inspirational, and I appreciate every moment. You had very inspiring words for all of us all the time. It didn't go unnoticed. Tammy Flores, thank you. The first year I was here, you helped mentor a lot. You were sitting beside me, and I used to always get to come over and ask the questions, so thank you for helping out. You will be truly missed. Superintendent Groutman, you are truly a unicorn. I mean, the skills that you have, the years of experience that you have brought to the table, it's truly remarkable for everything that you have done, truly, sincerely. I appreciate that from you. It's sad to see you all go, but I know that your voices will still be heard around here, and so that, I thank you guys very much. I'm going to turn this a little bit because I was caught off guard with kind of all of this today. We didn't know that a lot of this was happening. So quick shout out. I just got back from Cedar Point. This goes out to, since we are also here for the kids. I'm going to congratulate the Grease Cobras girls 14 team from getting back from Cedar Point Coasters Classic Championship. They brought it home back to Grease for us, so I appreciate that from our kids. I also wanted to thank our speakers for tonight, even though there's some things that we don't like to hear in comments. It's truly valuable experience for having people come out here to speak, good, bad, or indifferent. So I appreciate everything tonight. It was truly remarkable. Jeremy Smalling, I can't forget you. Again, something we didn't know what was going to happen tonight. So I'm not really prepared for that, but I appreciate that you are going to be the new superintendent. I'm sure you're going to bring a lot to the table, and we look forward to working with you. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Ferrer. Mr. Butler?
Thanks. So I want to say just echoes a lot of the things that have been said before, and just Tammy, I have found you to be such a thoughtful, kind, insightful, and generous and collaborative person, and they're all qualities that we're going to miss very much on the board. So I've only got to work with you for a year, but I've enjoyed it, and I wish you the best, and thank you for your service. Dr. Trawick, I remember when we met at McDonald's for coffee when I was thinking about running for the board, and we had a great conversation, and I have so appreciated your perspective and you speaking your truth with honesty, candor, kindness, and courage. And those are all such important qualities that make you a great person and have made you a great board colleague. So keep doing the important work you're doing in the rest of your life, and we'll miss you around the board table. So Kathy, I've known you since junior high. I haven't heard anybody say that yet tonight, so. But I really have appreciated the chance to work with you closely here. I think one of the true testaments, as I was going around and doing my tour, meeting your cabinet and other people in the district, I've never heard such universal appreciation for someone's leadership the way I heard when I was doing that tour of folks. But it's not a cult of personality. It is, I think the real measure of a leader is not just what they do when they're in leadership, but the way they leave the organization. And I think you have put there's a saying that I heard recently that we don't rise to the level of our aspirations, we fall to the level of our systems. And you have put so many systems in place that we've heard about, whether it's around strategic planning or whether it's around trying to create a welcoming environment for all students. All these systems that are in place will live beyond your time here. So thank you for that and for what you've done for the district, for my own kids in the district who you knew by name and face, and that just means a whole lot. And speaking of the systems that you leave behind, Jeremy, we're here with you. We're very excited to see your leadership, and we've got your back.
Thank you, Mr. Butler. Mr. Bongorio.
I want to say thank you to Tammy and Sharita. Someone here tonight suggested that board members get paid. They do not. It is a lot of sacrifice, and especially when you have kids, you have families. I can appreciate that from both of you. I thank you for making that sacrifice. And both of you, as I was engaging with the board, both of you took opportunities to engage with me. I really appreciate that. Sharita, right from the beginning, we made a connection that you have always been the voice of come out and speak, good, bad, and different. That was kind of your mantra, at least as I saw it, and I really appreciate that. Through that, I got to meet your husband, great guy out there, and being supportive, I've got a supportive spouse, and that's an awesome thing. So thank you both. Thank you for all of that commitment, and don't stop making those commitments, and I'm sure you won't. Yeah, a lot of changes happening right now. I want to say to Suzanne, congratulations on your retirement, and thank you for jump-starting some big things going on in our district for our kids in the literacy program. I know it's not one person. There's a whole team, and I really appreciate that. Thank you for your effort in it. I hope there's more hellos down the road. But thank you. Jeremy, congratulations. I look forward to working alongside you in my capacity here, and I wish you the best going forward. Kathy, tireless, hardworking, professional, gracious. You're an amazing administrator. You're an amazing superintendent. Nothing here has happened by accident. You've set processes in place that I'm really amazed that there's so much is going on that is just incredibly well thought out. I really appreciate all of your hard work, all of your sacrifice, and the passion, and the care, and the love that you've poured into it. So thank you. Thank you very much. And congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Bongorio. Vice President Millar.
Sure, everybody already said everything. No. First of all, Tammy and Sharita, thank you so much for your service, and
your sisterhood. It was very important for me to connect with you because you have children in school. And, you know, I'm removed from that somewhat, so it was nice to be able to get your perspective on so many things. And I appreciate your phone calls and your texts and always being there for us. I also, as Tammy said, got to do some community schools work this past week at a conference, and Tammy and I presented. And one of the things I was most proud of, we presented that we have a board policy about community schools that everyone was very interested in, which was nice. And when we presented, a woman came up to us, we're in Atlanta, who graduated from Arcadia. So that's always a plus. That's always a plus. So thank you again, and I'll still be calling you, so don't worry. Kathy, I sat here and thought, now I'm aging myself. I first came to the Greece School District in 1975. And when I wasn't teaching here, my spouse did his whole career here. Both my children went to the school, and I came back to teach. A lot of superintendents. The thing that impressed me the most about you is that you're never in your office because you're at schools. And I can list a whole bunch of superintendents that if you told them go to Kirk Road School, wouldn't be able to find it. So I appreciate that. I also don't know how you do it, but I swear you know every employee's name. Yes, you do. And that's so impressive to watch a leader go into a building and say to someone, and how's your mother feeling? Like, that's amazing to me, having superintendents that never left the throne. I don't know how you did it, but I appreciate your connection with people, and that taught me a lot about leadership. So I'm hoping, Jeremy, you learned from that. And I look forward to the next 6 months working together. So thank you both.
Thank you, Vice President Millar. I just want to thank Sharita and Tammy for everything that you guys brought to this board and this community. You are going to be missed. I mean, I hope the future is bright for both of you in whatever you choose to do. I want to congratulate our responding to emergencies EMTs. We had 11 EMTs graduate out of that program. They all got hired by Monroe Ambulance. For those of you that don't follow EMS in this county, we have an EMS crisis in this county. So to see 11 new EMTs in the system is amazing. I'd like to see us get a lot more EMTs in the system because some of the wait times for ambulances are a little bit much at this point. But those 11 young people that decided to choose that as a profession, that's truly knowledgeable, or truly something to acknowledge, and I'm grateful for their service, and I hope they have safe and long careers. I was lucky enough to attend a literacy celebration at Lakeshore. The art choir was in the picture tonight. It was truly amazing to see the programs that Suzanne and your team have put together and what our kids are doing. It was so awesome to see their reports that they wrote and how excited they were to talk about. I learned about dolphins and spiders, and it was one of my more enjoyable celebrations in the school districts that I had, and it was great to see how far our kids are coming and how many of them are exceeding grade level in their reading, and how excited they were. I went up 4 levels, I went up 5 levels, I went up, and the excitement and the passion, it was truly remarkable to see in Miss Bruin's classroom. So I want to thank you for that and just give you a little shout out because that was really something to behold. Kathy, I mean, we've said so much tonight in regards, I'm going to enjoy the next 6 months. I want to thank you for your friendship and everything. It's meant a lot to me. And as I'm nostalgic, I want to congratulate our Vice President. She's getting a big award from the Rotary on this Friday evening, a Community Service Award. So I want to congratulate Terry for her service. Terry's probably one of the most dedicated board members I've ever worked with. And since I'm in a nostalgic mood, I don't know what the future is going to hold, but you were an amazing vice president for me for the last 9 years. You kept me on an even keel. I know I call you my second mom sometimes because you slap me in the head when I need it. So I appreciate that, and our time together has been truly enjoyable, and I want to thank you for the guidance you've given me. You've been a true partner in this, and we'll see what happens. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Superintendent Groutman. Are these going to be your last remarks over the next 6 months, or do we get to listen to you every month?
You wish. Like, I have a big mouth, and I generally have things to say.
Really?
But I do want to just sort of formally say a few things. At the time that this was all going on, there was a lot that happened at this meeting tonight. So to your point, like, I feel like I'm sweaty from so much happening. But I was able to share some information with our staff tonight during this. And so I have just a bit that I want to share and just read, and then probably have a few words after that. But it's been my distinct honor and privilege to serve as superintendent in Greece. Many of you know that I am a proud graduate of Arcadia, me and Flick. Once a Titan, always a Titan, and have invested my heart and soul in this district since I was hired back in 2002. And I really so appreciate so many people noticing that and just appreciating that, because it has been a calling, like Jeremy said, and it's been really life's work. Throughout my time as assistant principal and principal, assistant superintendent, and now superintendent, I've been able to truly get to know so many amazing staff members, not all of them. Like Terry touts, I try, but I'm not that good. Many different board members through the years, so many families, and the best part, so many incredible students from here in Greece. I've had the privilege to be part of so many successes, many challenges, but also so many personal stories of triumph and heartbreak, and they're endless. In turn, you have all been part of my life. Some of you rooting unsuccessfully for the Bills with my husband, Kurt, and our inflatable. Yes, we have an inflatable. Raising my daughters, Cameron and Chloe, who are now amazing adults, Cameron working over at Lakeshore as a teacher, and also through the passing of both of my parents. So you think about over a 9-year period of time and all that you go through, and this has been together. I've learned and grown so much as a leader and as a person from working with this caring community.
You weren't going to do this.
I know. I've learned the power of having a vision and the importance of listening and elevating stakeholder voices, the necessity of collaboration and teamwork, and that humility and relationships matter. As a staff and community, you've all consistently demonstrated generosity, kindness, and compassion, and I truly, truly thank you for all of that. Throughout my career, I've also learned about the importance of board service, and I will say until I became a superintendent, I did not appreciate or adequately understand the importance of board service. So that's interesting. Almost 20 years in education, and I didn't get it until I became a superintendent. I worked at a time in Greece as a principal when I had 7 superintendents in 9 years, and the board was incredibly dysfunctional. Schools were isolated, budgets failed, relationships were divisive, capital project work wasn't happening, contracts were never settled, trust was non-existent, and there was so much animosity. We were so far behind with work. I share this only because I really attribute much of the change to Sean McCabe and our Board of Education. And I say that Sean and the board, but it required great leadership. His work should not be understated. He is a huge part that has brought stability and leadership to this district. He has a deep understanding of the needs of this community, and his knowledge of governance is unparalleled. Additionally, I've had the privilege of working with so many committed and talented board members through the years. Unique and special individuals with all different backgrounds, beliefs, and personalities. I sincerely appreciate each and every one of you, your perspectives, and your desire to improve our educational system. That matters and is so needed. I also just want to thank you for, before I get to that, I do want to point out some of the things that we've done together. So as a district, and I look at all of you because people in the audience and our leadership team and the board have accomplished so much. And I think over time it's easy to forget things or sort of keep moving and looking forward, but we have achieved significant milestones and improvements, including the creation and implementation of 2 strategic plans. With intention and care, we've built authentic and trusting relationships with all union groups that represent over 3,000 employees. You heard people talk about collaboration tonight. Karen getting up and talking about collaboration and Brian getting up and talking about collaboration is not for show. That's true. We've established stability and fostered a positive climate and culture in a district that was once distrusting and suspicious due to constant turnover. I'm so, so grateful that the board has supported the creation of the deputy position and just the idea of succession. There are places that doesn't exist, but the board trusted me with that. They trusted the idea that succession matters, and they trusted and were part of the appointment of Jeremy as deputy and now as superintendent, and that makes such a difference for our community. We've adopted and expanded community school strategies. We've served as a beacon in the region for this. We've successfully implemented CTE pathways and amazing programs like Leader and Me. And if you were at Leadership Day last week at any one of those schools, you would be so incredibly proud and beaming. There was no way you couldn't be proud. We have also bolstered curriculum like we've done recently with our core curriculum. And I look at you, Suzanne, because that is a huge amount of work for you that you have led, and I know will continue to. We were the district that crafted the vision behind the Regional Equity Network. Mary Caitlin, that was while you were on the board, and a huge part and voice in the creation of that. That network is growing and preparing to host its 3rd annual Summer Institute. We led the county through the pandemic, and I say that because we did, as Greece, lead the county through the pandemic. We've improved facilities and grounds. We've built this beautiful transportation center, installed incredible lighted fields at each of our high schools, created the Early Learning Center, Val. Thank you so much for all of that work. And also expanded services 100-fold for our most vulnerable students. We've done incredible work, and I say that not because I have done that, because we have done that as a board, as a staff, and as a district. So I just would end by saying thank you for allowing me to be the superintendent of the Greece Central School District. Thank you to my family, Kurt. Thank you. You've put up with a ton through the years, ruined vacations, phone calls, a million things. And I've said it over and over again, and I said it to Jeremy, the only way you can do this job is if you have a supportive spouse and family, and you have been my rock. And such a huge support. I'm so excited for the future and all the great things that Greece will accomplish. And I will continue to cherish my time here and work with for the remaining months to help to continue to lead this district through and to more growth and improvement. So thank you so much.
Mr. Maloney, it's your time to shine.
Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So
Do I hear a
moved,
second?
Yes. Dr. Trawick and Mrs. Flores are both going to get the second on that. All those in favor? That passes 9-0. Thank you, everyone. Good evening.